And that's when I said, I sure love to eat and punch things.
All right.
Let me go to twitter.com. I don't go there often, but when I do...
Once this reaches 66 tweets an hour, you're going to see some serious shit. By which I mean Shadowban.
Oh, no! I forgot I don't have fucking the night extension on this browser, so now it's all white and ugly.
My eyes!
Ah, it's like an Assassin's Creed loading screen! To be fair, that's only true for half of the games, but it's still pretty blinding, flashingly white loading screens are still pretty Ubisoft iconic.
Evidently.
Yep. I accidentally typed novelty hour. I'm like, nope, that's not right.
We've been doing a lot of novelty hour lately, to be fair.
Mm-hmm. Take that, Internet! You can't handle the power of my fist! Take that, Discord server! You can't take the power of my fist! This voice is so fun to do, I don't even want to talk normally anymore. Ever had that happen? You just get stuck in a voice?
Oh.
I'm gonna use the bathroom. Hey!
Yeah?
I'm gonna use the bathroom.
Okay.
We're back.
That was just me retweeting this stuff. Makes sense. Nice.
Don't listen to them! It's a trap! They're just gonna talk about cartoons like they always do. Yeah. Come on, get down with the sickness. When will they get the plan back to
get down with the thickness.
You people are gross.
It is plugged in. The fuck?
You people are gross. You need to like get a hobby.
Don't you tell me to plug in when I'm already plugged in.
I'll tell you whatever I want to tell you, Tiffany. Tiffany. You ready?
No. Yes.
You said there's so many big signals.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Hold on a sec. All right.
Okay.
All right. Ready in 3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to the Baka Gaijin show. I'm your lovable rascal of a host, Zeke Freaking. With me, as always, is my infrared co-host, Kevin Faulkner.
Hey, you actually thought of a new one this time. Good for you.
Sometimes I pull through when people need me. Most of the time, I'm just like, yeah, I was having a nap.
Hashtag relatable.
Hashtag relatable, baby. Hey, here's a tip. Why don't you make new things instead of showing us all the shit you made last year? How about that? Huh? Anyway.
Okay, who are you talking about?
You know exactly who I am referring to. They shall go unnamed, unmasked, and unloved.
Actually, I do not.
So, Kevin, what have you been up to lately?
Well,
Just when we needed him most, he took a nap.
I'm Kevin, the narcolet.
Funny jokes.
Well, obviously, I've watched Death Note recently.
Oh my god, how was that? Don't tell me, because that's the next part.
Yeah, we're saving that shit.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna hold that one close.
Mm-hmm. Like your
swap.
mother's milk.
Yeah.
Hold it close.
But I did a movie swap thing with Kyubey the Third, and from that I watched Pacific Rim, which was fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, does your movie have a giant robot beating up Godzilla with a giant tanker? I don't think so. Okay, it's not Godzilla.
It's true. It doesn't. My movie does not have that.
I don't think we even have a movie.
My movie is just a guy with a weird southern accent knocking over shit in my closet.
Nominated for 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture.
Exactly. No. Wait. No. My movie was me eating spaghetti.
Oh right.
Yeah. And then I made the making of video of me making eating spaghetti.
Can't forget the classic of I ate spaghetti.
Exactly. It was a theatrical masterpiece.
It got the audience award at the Cannes Film Festival.
Exactly. It got a BAFTA and a DAFTA and a ZAFTA.
I don't think 2 of those are things.
They could be. They were created specifically for I Ate Spaghetti because it was such a cinematic experience.
It gets to the bottom of the human of the human spirit.
it's an integral marvel of both storytelling and cinematography, wrapped up together in a digestible but also nuanced bow. And with the music I'm listening to in the background, this sounds extremely inspirational and documentary-like. I feel like I'm walking down an abandoned train yard, just me and my camera, and the credits and the subtitles are just going like, "The genius at work" or something. But anyway, aside from
a man of legend, a new documentary.
Oh my God, the music just started upswinging. The music started upswinging when you said that, and now it's all epic. And I feel compelled to tell them my story. And this isn't going to be as good a moment to anyone else because the music is only in my head. But I have to let the world know. Damn. I will never forget this moment. The music is remembered forever. I wish you could hear this because it's perfect in my mind. But I can only put it on the screen for the rest of you to see. Oh my God. It's so perfect.
It's amazing. I'm not even hearing it. I can only imagine.
Hold on. The song is Parafescence by Glowworm. Anyway.
Okay.
You know, it's the kind of shit you might find in the Life is Strange soundtrack. Anyway, so what else aside from Pacific Rimming? What have you been up to?
I think you have me confused with the porn parody here.
I do
not. God, there are other things that I've been doing. I swear.
I know. It's true.
It's not like I haven't been doing anything for like an entire month and a half.
That's what you tell your mother, yeah.
Okay, that's just disrespectful.
Fine, that's what you tell your psychologist. Jeez.
That's better. I haven't seen him in years.
Yeah.
There's something. Hold on.
Okay, I'm holding on. Just like Dr. Arnold is holding on for you at the strip mall, which is where his office is.
From that movie swap thing, I also saw Belladonna of Sadness.
Is that the one I hate?
I don't know which one. Which one is the one you hate?
It might be.
I don't know. What are you thinking of?
Is that thing Gabby loves that I hate?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. I hate it. Fuck you.
Old 1970s art house anime film.
Yeah, I think I hate that one.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
fuck that film.
I can't say I enjoyed it, but I also can't say that I regretted watching it. Like, I was glad that I watched it.
That's how I thought about Schindler's List.
It's a very unpleasant movie.
Right.
It's a hard watch, but it's a very well made.
Well, I think
film.
that might have been my problem with it, because if a film was unpleasant and all it has is its message, and I don't like the message, then that's just a failure to me.
Yeah, I can still appreciate it for what it was trying to do and the actual artistry of the film. Like it's an interesting movie.
That sounds pretty gay, Kevin.
I'll probably talk about it on some Otaku Midnight episode, but
yeah.
I like that the movie actually, for the most part, was actually just told through paintings with the occasional very abstract animation.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Right.
Aside from that, I've been watching Made in Abyss, which is a pretty good show.
Yeah, wish I could watch Made in Abyss. Stares at someone's direction.
You know who you are.
You know who you are, Amazon executives.
Now hold on. We're trying. But yeah, Made in Abyss, really good show.
Yeah.
And aside from that, not a whole lot. But At the very least, I've done something productive.
Keep telling your mother that.
You leave my mother out of this. She's been through enough.
All right. Okay, so on my end, I've been watching a few things concurrently as they air. The usual stuff: Super, Vrains, Hero Academia. I think that's a.
Oh yeah. I've been catching up on that too. I just finished the tournament arc.
Okay.
That's a damn good tournament arc.
You're a damn good tournament arc, you piece of shit.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But yeah, it's pretty great.
It's like you give me a compliment and then call me a piece of shit. And I'm like, which one do you mean?
I'm complimenting you relative to yourself, but I'm insulting you relative to literally everything else in the universe. That's the best way I can describe it. I'm sorry, it's the music. It's making me say inspirational things.
That's not inspirational.
I took inspiration from it because what it taught me was that no matter what I do, I'm always going to be better than Kevin. And I think 99.999% of the audience can agree with this.
No.
You hear that, people? No matter how much you're struggling or how much you think you're a failure, just remember you're always better than Kevin.
There's the inspirational quote of the day, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. So yeah, stuff like that. It's actually, we're discussing Death Note today, but it's actually been like a month since I finished Death Note, so I'll be struggling to recall things.
It's been close to that for me too, because
I thought I was gonna. Go on.
I watched that shit in like 5 days. I thought it was going to take longer, but Death Note has this. Of course, we're going to talk about it more later, but Death Note has this it has this weird ability to just suck you in completely, and it's like, I need to see what happens next.
Exactly. You finish it twice as fast as you think you will, and it seems to last twice as long as you think it was.
Yeah. I legit thought before watching it that I was like 50 episodes. It's only 37.
Yeah. Weird number until I realized that's just 3 cores.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was like a month ago for me. I was planning to space episodes out better, but I didn't realize the Netflix movie came out so late in August. I thought it was like August 11th or 12th or something. So blame Netflix for the delay of this episode.
Thanks, guys.
Among other things. Yeah, other than that, just been looking forward to V3 and playing a lot of Overwatch. And there's a part of my brain that's like, you should finish Persona 5, you know, that game you were super hyped about and got on day one. And fucking that. I'm like, yeah, but fuck you. I don't want to right now.
But I have to get those legendary skins. You don't understand.
So, yeah. Well, the summer games are ending on Tuesday, so I will no longer have that innate drive. But then they're adding the deathmatch modes and buffing some characters I play, so never mind. I guess I'm doing that anyway.
Oh shit.
I can't escape Overwatch. But it's also just like with Persona 5 I ran into this weird thing. You know that thing that you sometimes do where you're like with a show or a game or something where like, this is so great. I don't want this to end. So I'm gonna stop playing it.
Yes. Oh Lord, yes.
Yeah, I got hit with that. I'm just struggling to pick it back up again.
Yeah, like I did that a few years ago with a few shows. One of the only ones I can really think of is Zetai Karin Children.
Yeah.
Because I dropped it like halfway through, and it was a really good show. Like I was just blowing through episodes for a few days. Yeah. And I got about halfway through, and I'm like, man, this show is so good. I'm just going to take a break from it. Never came back to it.
Yeah, I've done the same thing with other shows. I'm trying to think of any specific examples, actually. I don't know. Gurren Lagann, maybe. I think I watched 10 episodes of that and never finished it.
Do you realize the look I'm giving you right now.
Well, you never saw Death Note until I told you, so shut up.
Yeah, but I had no interest in it, and I never even started it, so at the very least, I'm not stalling friggin' 10 episodes into Death Note. You're stalling 10 episodes into Gurren Lagann. It's like, dude, the show's about to get good. Well,
Fine.
Good.
Fine, Kevin. Fine, Kevin. We'll just have to do a podcast on that at some point.
Okay.
Okay. Impromptu plan making. Also, speaking of Zettai Kaden children, I've been struggling to describe Shinsekai Yori to you for a while because it's not an easily describable show. But I hear that show used in comparison to it a lot.
Is it?
Yeah, Shinsekai Yori is often called like a more fantastical, but also more psychologically realistic Zettai Kaden children.
Like does Shinsekai Yori have like espers being used in like some sort of a task force manner?
Not exactly.
Because that's part of what Zettai Kaden children is. Like, there are three main characters.
Okay, so I'm gonna. Okay, you describe that. I'm gonna look them up.
Like Zettai Kaden children is a show where the three main characters are three young but incredibly adept espers, each one with a particular esper ability. One of them has telekinesis, one of them has teleportation, and the other one has telepathy.
Right.
And they're all being taken care of by this new guy that comes into the organization, who is tasked with basically being their guardian. And he's responsible for he's basically responsible for being quite literally putting them on a leash, because they have these limiters around their necks that suppress their stronger psychic abilities. With the limiters on, they can use them to smaller extents, but without the limiters, they're basically able to go hog wild with their powers.
Right. Anyway, so Shinsekai Yori. Basically, I'm literally paraphrasing from TV tropes at the moment. Okay. Takes place 1,000 years in the future of Japan. Where for fuck's sake, Spotify ads! I'm trying to fucking.
Do you mind?
I really should have taken up that 99 cent for 3 months premium offer, because that was a really good deal, and I was like, oh, I'll get it eventually, and I was like, I never did. And
dumbass.
My sister tells me that Spotify premium is like actually $10 a month. So I'm like, why didn't I go for that 99 cent for 3 months deal? Am I stupid?
Damn, dude, what the
I know, it was amazing discount. She says they're probably going to do it again for like back to school or whatever. So maybe.
Yeah. Reminds me how I immediately jumped on the $3.99 monthly for High Dive, because now it's like friggin' $8.95 a month.
Yeah. Anyway, so Shinsekai Yori, millennium from now in Japan exists a seemingly idyllic and utopic village barred from the outside world, ruled by people who possess the god's power of psychokinesis. And it's about a group of children at this academy, but like there's something wrong going on in the village, and they don't know their own history and stuff like that. So it's like it's got a similar sort of thing about children and psychic powers. It's just a lot darker and more psychological.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now that I have a better grasp on it, I can kind of see how to get into it now. Okay. Because that's my big thing. It's like, before I get into a show, I need to have like some sort of an idea of what it is.
Yeah. It's kind of like a less action-oriented, more psychological, more fantasy-esque kind of Zettai Kaden children kind of deal.
It kind of reminds me of this one time in high school where someone tried to explain Full Metal Panic to me, and they said it was like some sort of military comedy thing. And a few years later when I watched it, it's like, dude, they didn't mention the giant robots.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that might be like the next anime-based episode we do. I feel like that was a spin-off of another point I was making, though. I forget.
I don't know.
Remember what I was talking about? Because I remember what I was talking about. The fucking jeez, I don't remember. Well, that's lost the time. That's lost all fucking time.
You're gonna be rewatching this episode, then you're gonna remember, and it's like, ah, shit.
Yeah, probably. That sounds accurate. Let me check.
I listen back to our episodes now and then. For the record, I listened back to our Excel World episode.
Mm-hmm.
And at one point during a break, you said, "Oh, here's some stupid thing on Tumblr. I'm going to reblog it, and Kevin's going to think it's hilarious, and he's going to reblog it from me."
Yeah.
What was it?
I don't remember. I don't remember, but I think I remember that you did.
Motherfucker, you know me way too well.
Yesterday, we're apparently in the episode I put up. I said, "You're probably listening to this in late August," and she's like, "You motherfucker." I'm like, I'm good at calculating these things.
Oh, good on you for that.
Yeah, well,
I guess
that's the other thing I've been doing is recording SDR2 footage and recording that with you.
Yeah. Speaking of Danganronpa, the first 2 games and Ultra Despair Girls are actually on sale on Steam, and it's a pretty good looking sale. So I'm probably going to jump on at least the first 2 games next month.
Yeah. Is it going that long? Well, I guess next month is in like 5 days.
Yeah, it's going until September 2nd.
That's pretty cool. That reminds me of not dying horribly.
Don't you bring Akame into this. She does not deserve it.
Did you say Akame? I did not bring Akame into this. She's off Got Killing over there.
I get it.
I get it. It's a reference. I get it. I clap because I know what that is.
I understood that reference.
I get that reference too. Let's clap.
Give me a second.
Oh, X-Wings. TIE Fighters.
Okay, I'm good.
I clapped when I saw Darth Vader bring out his red lightsaber. Oh!
Okay, to be fair, that scene from Rogue One was fucking awesome.
It broke new ground!
No, it didn't. Apparently, Steven Spielberg wants to make Ready Player One. I clapped when I saw it, the movie.
I don't doubt it.
According to him, he wants people to be in the theater, point at the screen, and say, "I know what that is."
An admirable goal. I want to make references that people get.
It's like, to be fair, the book was basically the same fucking thing. So, you know, at the very least, he's being faithful.
First of all, Locke, it's clapped to lightsabers, not clopped to lightsabers. We're not horses. We're gonna do something a bit weird, just so I don't forget. We're gonna do the question list that Jekyll Geek sent us forever ago.
All right. We're sorry, Jekyll Geek. We keep forgetting this shit.
Yeah. We love our viewers sometimes. Okay. So he's got 20 questions here for us, as per usual. Nishishi.
So we're gonna do that last, or what?
We're gonna do that first, Kevin, because we care. We care sometimes a little bit. Question number one by Jekyll Geek to the Baka Gaijin Show, where you can also send emails at bakagaijinshow@gmail.com. Question one: are there any mobile games that don't suck?
Asphalt 8 is a pretty good racing game.
I have to. You gush about Asphalt 8 for a minute while I go throw up in a corner.
All I was gonna say, it was pretty good. I don't need to gush about it.
Asphalt 8 is the greatest fucking game ever made.
Not really.
It's the Citizen Kane of gaming. It's the Dark Souls of racing games. Jesus. I give it a 7.8 out of 10. There's too much water. Too much asphalt.
And,
too much asphalt in my Asphalt 8.
I've also been playing Power Rangers Legacy War, which is basically your typical mobile fighting game, but with Power Rangers.
Yeah. Let me see. I don't really do a whole lot of mobile games, but what do I have on my phone? I still have Flappy Bird. You can't even get that anymore, but I still have it.
Good lord.
Yep.
I think I had Flappy Doge for a while.
That sounds like an inferior Chinese knockoff. It does. I have Evil Apples, which is basically mobile Cards Against Humanity.
Okay.
I have Flow Free, which is a connect the pipes sort of game.
Yeah.
And I have Hearthstone. And then I have like a GBA emulator, and that's about it.
Yeah.
My real answer is there's probably a lot of stuff, but I'm not very well versed in it. If you asked me in like 2008, I could tell you because I had like a million fucking things on my iPod Touch or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm not that person anymore. I would say mostly games that aren't made specifically for mobile, but just happen to be there. Stuff like Hearthstone and I think Gwent's coming to mobile. Stuff like that.
With like mobile emulators, the only game I really feel is like really suited to a mobile emulator is Sonic the Hedgehog because you only have to do two things: press right and press A.
I play like Pokemon GBA games on my phone.
Oh yeah, that too. Like RPGs are like turn-based RPGs work too.
Yeah. Remember when I got you to play the fucking Kids Next Door GBA game?
Yeah, and it was terrible. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't know. I don't remember how it was. I just remember it existed and I had it.
Like I just turned that off and went immediately back to that Pretty Cure puzzle game that I have.
Right. So, yeah, I don't really play mobile games very much. If I need to do something on my phone in public, I just read Reddit or something, or annoy people on Discord. Like, hey, why isn't anyone immediately entertaining me?
Are you not entertained? Okay, next.
Probably not. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. Number 2, who is your favorite cartoon bear?
Winnie the Pooh, I guess.
The correct answer is Ice Bear.
Monokuma's over sulking in a corner right now.
No, Kevin, that's an anime bear.
It's totally different.
But yes, the correct answer is Ice Bear.
You say Ice Bear. You say Ice Bear, and the first thing I think is Firestar. No, that's Iceman.
No, Ice Bear from We Bear Bears.
Ice Bear and Firestar.
Yeah. I liked We Bear Bears. When I'm caught up with Gumball, I should watch that as my go-to. It's lunchtime and I need something to watch show.
Yeah.
I finished Gumball season 3, by the way.
Speaking of Gumball, apparently a recent episode had an amazing scene in it.
I'm going to reblog this, and Kevin's going to reblog it.
Hold on, let me get my tablet. No. My tablet actually is right over there.
While you're doing that, question 3, what do you hate more, being ignored or ghosts? And the answer is being ignored because ghosts don't exist. I want to put in that Ralph Movie Maker clip. Ghosts aren't real. They're not real.
Well, me being religious, I have the opinion that ghosts are real, but it's just demons fucking with people.
Oh, I'm gonna fucking load up that clip because it's the greatest thing ever made.
Okay.
Hold on.
Holding on.
Paranormal hunter ghosts.
Sounds like
they've heard voices in this house.
Hold on.
The spirit can still be felt inside his singos, especially in Faxi Dirtmeister, now titled The Infamous Derpy, the Derpy Ghost. In this house we are going to explore, we will find out if these are all myths or true. Join me in Paranormal Hunter Ghosts.
I love my lows.
Okay, so let's get this out of the way, alright? I guess I gotta put up this statement my lawyer told me to. Ghost shows are not real. They're not real at all. Not like some of them are real and some of them are fake, or most of them are fake, but like there's 2 or 3 that are real. All of them are fake. Wanna know something else? Ghosts aren't They're not real, okay? You've never seen a ghost in your life. No one has ever seen a ghost in their life. Ghosts are not real. No one has ever been possessed by a ghost or a demon. Every movie based on a true story of a ghost or a demon is fake and exaggerated. Every ghost hunter and psychic medium is a con artist. Anyone who ever said that they saw a ghost is a liar or a crazy person. It's all fake. And if you believe in ghosts, you need to get your head out of your own. And once we watch this shit, you're going to realize how stupid these people look, believing this dumb shit. There's no ghosts anywhere. Anywhere. I've been to the most haunted areas of the United States just to try it out. I've been to Gettysburg. I've been on the Queen Mary. I went there. Wasn't a single thing. There wasn't shit. I went out there at night. There ain't shit. There's no ghosts. None.
I love that so much.
He just gets so irrationally upset. Plus, it occasionally just stops to say, it's like, we are not slandering any one party.
He had to sit through all that shit, so, I mean, like, you know. If you had to sit through that many shitty reality shows.
To be fair, he also had to sit through Charles
Styles Mystery Diners Ghost Hunter Edition. Oh, no. Even his reaction to Charles Styles Mystery Diners again was like, oh, no.
Shit. All right. Love you, Ralph the Movie Maker.
Yeah. Question 4: what do you think about the child sex slave colony on Mars? I've been told by my lawyers I cannot comment on this.
Same.
Number 5: a lot of jalapeno poppers aren't really spicy. Does this bother you like it does me? Not particularly, because I don't ingest spicy food very often.
Same.
Yeah. Question 6: but that's Kaede's lie, isn't it? And I'm like, yeah, it is. Did you not see the trailer? Question 7: what do you plan to do in case of zombie attack? This is actually interesting because, like, I used to I actually have something of a plan. It's very, very loose, but the key, everyone's,
it's less of a plan and more of an idea.
Yeah, it's more of a general piece of advice. Don't go to the stores, because every stupid person is going to go to the stores and it's just going to be a bloodbath. Go to the distribution centers, because less people know about that. Like, I actually urge you, in case of, like, not even just zombie attack, but like natural disaster, or some fucking invading army or whatever, look up where your local, like, distribution centers are in terms of, like, food banks or even stores, because that's where the good shit is. That's where huge amounts of food are in bulk. Food and supplies are in bulk, and a lot less people know about them. So go after distribution centers, loot those. And beyond that, I don't really have a great idea, but that's just a general tip from me to you.
Noting for future use, possibly.
Yeah. All right. Question 8: how do you feel about Chowder, the cartoon with the cat, bear, raccoon thing in the restaurant?
Chowder, look what you've done! Now the animators have to draw all this fire!
Chowder's pretty good.
Yeah.
I haven't felt compelled to watch it again since it ended, but Chowder was pretty good.
I caught a few episodes back in my high school days, and it was all right.
Yeah, it was one of the better things airing at the time there.
Well, to be fair, it was like the only good thing.
Yeah, to be fair. Now, how do you feel about Chowder, the soup with the clams and potatoes?
It's all right.
I don't like it. Nice question.
Depends on the chowder, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Question 10: did watching Gravity Falls ever make you want to own a pig? No, but it did make me want to say that a character I write for wanted a pig, so there was some level of influence there.
No, but I want Dipper's hat.
I think you can get that, right?
Yeah, it's a hot topic.
It's a hot topic.
Yeah.
Seems a little normal for hot topic. By the way, you keep cutting out, so fix it.
I'm trying.
Okay.
Doing my best.
All right. Question 11. What do you think about Doomfist? This is actually good that you're asking me this now and not when you actually sent this, because at the time I would have been like, I don't know, I've only played him for 30 minutes. But now on Doomfist I have like 3.5 hours playtime, so I have a better idea of how I like him. And I'm going to answer this seriously because I always answer these questions entirely seriously. So Doomfist, if you're unaware, is a offense sort of flanker, anti-flanker character that has a rocket punch, a seismic slam, and an uppercut. Also like a 4-pronged shotgun on his other hand, and he gains shields when you get combos of his abilities. But anyway, I actually really like playing him, although he's a bit of a glass cannon because even though he's got a fair amount of health, he's got a big hitbox. So if you're not careful, you can get focused down really easily. He's kind of a niche pick because he's really good against like backline support and like squishy flankers and whatnot, like tracers and Genjis. But he's got to really commit to his rocket punch because it can one-hit kill people if you do it right. But if all your abilities are on cooldown, you have absolutely no escape because your shotgun isn't that great at long distances, and you have such a big hitbox, you'll just get focused down. So you really got to commit to that punch, and a lot of playing Doomfist is managing your cooldowns and knowing exactly when to go in and when to get out of there. He has a fair amount of mobility, but his mobility is tied to abilities with long cooldowns, so you got to be careful about that. But I do really like playing him. He's really fun and rewarding just to punch people into walls and they just instantly die. It's great.
Yay.
Question 12. If you could time travel, where would you go? I would go exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. I'd go exactly 29 days in the future. No particular reason.
I didn't count that exactly for any particular reason.
Exactly.
This sounds like a good day to me.
Yeah, I know. Yes, if I could time travel, I would go exactly 29 days in the future. How about you, Kevin?
You know, probably same.
Yeah, this one seems like it's gonna suck for some reason. Anyway, number question 13. If you were transported to a fantasy world, what D&D type character class would you be?
You know, that's actually an interesting question. I actually created a D&D character yesterday.
Yeah. My answer would be depends on the edition. If it's a 4th edition fantasy world, something more combat oriented, like a mage knight or something. If it's 5th edition, maybe something else like a rogue.
Yeah. I'm actually I forget what the actual name is, but for my 5th edition campaign, I'm actually going to be in like an arcane warrior.
All right.
Eldritch Knight, that's what it was. Thank you, Jen.
Eldritch. Those are Eldritch are like they're like the super elves, right? No, I'm thinking of Eladrin.
Yeah, no. Eldritch Knight just means that you know arcane. You know arcane.
Yeah.
Spells.
For some reason, I got the words Eldritch and Eladrin mixed up.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm gonna be an Eldritch Knight. So
okay, that's another proud thing to tell your mother.
Hey, Mom, I'm an Eldritch Knight.
Shut up and get me another pack of smokes from the convenience mart. Hawking a loogie.
Question 14. Have you seen any good superhero movies this year? I have seen no movies this year.
I have seen. I saw Logan.
Was that
about it? Yeah, it's a really good movie.
But is it a good superhero? Okay, is it a good superhero movie, Kevin? That's the question.
I mean, it's nominally a superhero movie, but it's more of a Western road trip action movie.
Right. I don't think I've new or otherwise. I don't actually think I've seen superhero movies this year. Let me think.
I fell off the whole superhero movie hype.
Yeah, me too. I'll catch up eventually, but not right now. Question 15. Since you never know when you're going to have to fight a giant robot with your bare fists, do you have a grappling hook? No.
Nope.
Number 16. If Kevin played Overwatch, who would be his main?
I don't know, Zeke. You tell me.
That's a tough one. It's really hard because I don't know. You never talk about playing FPS games, so I don't know exactly what you like. Kevin is a scrub tier Hanzo main. I'm going to stick to that for the rest of the time.
Watch as I actually end up being a Hanzo main.
Exactly. Question 17. If Zeke played Overwatch, which he does, who would be his main? Okay, so just to make this easy, I actually looked at my statistics page. My top 5 characters across all game modes in terms of playtime are in order: Reaper, Bastion, Soldier 76, Lucio, and Junkrat, with about 6 or 7 hours each on all of them. But I'm really flex. Like I'll play literally everything. So that doesn't mean a whole lot to me. I don't really main things. Those are just the ones that I happen to have the most playtime on.
Except for Genji. Fuck him.
No. Genji is like, hold on. I think actually, no, wait. My number 5 is Genji. Number 6 is Junkrat. I mixed that up.
I meant Hanzo. I'm dumb.
Yeah. Actually, Genji is actually technically harder than Hanzo, but Hanzo just requires you have really good aim. Genji requires a lot of other skills. Especially on console, because like the console aiming system isn't as refined as other shooters because Blizzard's not as good at that. Something to do with linear ramp acceleration or something. Like precise aiming is just a little wonky on console. Hopefully they'll fix that one day. They keep adding like new like control like options and stuff, but it's like really confusing. Like, do you want dual zone layer or do you want exponential ramp or linear ramp? It's like, I just want it to work better. Why are you a Sony television? These are too many options for the average consumer.
Do you want smooth motion? Answer is no.
Aim smoothing, you do want that.
No, smooth motion on like a TV.
Oh no, you don't want that. You don't want aim smoothing though, because that's
okay. Good.
Yeah. If you don't have like at least 98 aim smoothing on console, you're kind of not doing it right. 18. Dude, spelled as a prinny. Are you going to finish those nachos? Fuck yeah, they're my nachos. Get away from me. Question 19. I have asked you 99 questions because the first batch was 21. So let me ask you: do you have any problems with female dogs?
Bitch, please. No.
I feel like female dogs should be held to the same standard of scrutiny as any other gender of dog. That's a question I seriously answered. Question 20. Did you ever follow pro wrestling? No. I only ever occasionally watch the Mark Remark, and that's it.
I actually followed WWE for a few months a few years ago, but I realized pretty quickly that it was a lot of build-up for very little payoff, so I just kind of stopped.
That is the implication I get from watching the Mark Remark. A lot of hype and a lot of ads and a lot of talking, and then not a whole lot of actual wrestling.
Like I think 1/6 of any given Raw episode is just hyping up the next pay-per-view.
Yeah, it's true. Which you paid for, and then they'll hype up the next.
Although there seems to be a common, although there does seem to be a common thread that for every WrestleMania, the next week's Raw tends to be actually a lot better.
Yeah.
Like, And how shitty the WrestleMania is apparently inversely proportionate to how good the Raw will be. Like, if it's a really crappy WrestleMania, the Raw episode is going to be amazing.
Yeah. I think the actual problem is just that, like, a fight between humans doesn't actually last an hour and a half, but you somehow got to fill that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's not like it's one fight for an hour and a half, dude.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, if you want an hour and a half of fighting, that's a lot of fights to book. So, like
here's the thing. Your given wrestling match lasts about 15 to 25 minutes.
Right.
Depending on the match. Like, if it's a gimmick match, it'll last longer. Like, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of like how they say how baseball lasts 2.5 hours, but it's only 8 minutes of it are actually exciting.
Reminds me of this one time, there was I forget who it was, but there was actually a tables match where you actually had to throw your opponent out of the ring and smash them into a table to win. And one guy got slightly knocked out of the ring, and he was trying to get back in, but his foot accidentally went through the table behind him, and he's like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
It was, oh God, it was Big Show. Big Show just accidentally put his foot through the table, and he's like, oh, no.
Yeah. I also don't have cable anymore, so watching something like wrestling isn't really a thing that happens.
Yeah, wrestling is it's really good when it's good, but otherwise it's mediocre to absolutely terrible.
Yeah. Like
I think wrestling is the closest thing normies can get to anime.
that might explain the huge overlap for some reason.
Yeah, there's a big overlap, at least on Twitter, between anime fans and wrestling fans.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like how there's like a weird, I don't know. It's like how Japanese wrestling is a lot like Mexican wrestling, and there's like a huge overlap there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's all the questions. So thank you, Jekyll Geek.
Always reliable.
Exactly. Always reliable. What's not reliable is we actually respond to them. But we
attempt.
An attempt was made and succeeded. We did it. Yay us. All right, so that's probably going to wrap up the first segment, and we will catch you after a short break on the Baka Gaijin show. Cut! That signifies the cut.
I will cut when I want to cut. No, cut.
You cut nothing, you well-adjusted and have the support of your family teenager. Nothing will be cut today because I believe in myself and I have a strong support system.
Reminds me of Outbreak Company and how the main character was also the main character of the Severing Crime Edge. And they actually...
Wait, no. Tell me that again.
The main character in Outbreak Company is voiced by the same guy that played the main character in Severing Crime Edge.
Oh, okay. I thought you were telling me it was the same character.
No.
No. No. And I would have heard about that.
And the Outbreak Company anime decided to put in a random reference to Severing Crime Edge, and it's like, wow, way to date your show. I mean, Outbreak Company is really good, but at the same time, it's like, gee, wonder what year this show was made.
2012? 2011?
Yeah, 2012.
Right. Or was it 2013? I don't remember. Yeah, although admittedly, Outbreak Company is a lot more memorable than Severing Crime Edge.
Yes, it is.
What do you remember? The fucking really clever show about otaku culture in a fantasy world? Or do you remember, I don't know, the one about a barber or something?
I've actually never seen Severing Crime Edge. The only reason I know it was a reference to it is because the subtitles told me it was.
I clapped! I clapped when I saw it!
Again, shows you exactly... It shows the influence that Severing Crime Edge has actually had on otaku culture.
Yeah. I'll be right back. I use the bathroom.
Same.
Okay. Don't touch that dial.
Why does it have to be a dial? What do they use their what is their computer from like 1974? God. I have returned. Have you? I suppose that will be a no. Son of a bitch! Damn it! Yo. You know, something me and Jen were talking about a couple weeks ago. Like, I don't know why, but the conversation we had just kind of moved over to Transformers. And something I've noticed about the Michael Bay movies is that they try really, really hard to dance around the fact that Transformers lore is equal parts sci-fi and fantasy.
Yeah.
Like, it's amazing.
Explain.
Like, the best example I can think of is a line that Ratchet says about the Forge of Solus Prime in Transformers Prime. He calls it like the perfect marriage of science and magic.
Yeah.
Like, there are a lot of elements of spirituality and mysticism in Transformers lore.
Yeah.
But the Michael Bay movies really work hard to not address it at all. It goes all the way back to the first movie, because the first lines in the movie are before time began, there was the cube. We know not where it comes from. Why don't you know? Isn't it a product of Primus? Shouldn't it be?
Yeah.
Like if we're going by normal Transformers lore, which every single installment has, like the cube should be a product of Primus, most likely given to one of the primes as a way to create life, because, you know, Transformers can't really procreate.
Yeah.
Or Cybertronians, I guess.
Yeah.
That's another thing. Around, like, I don't know, Dark of the Moon or Age of Extinction, like, the movies just kind of stopped referring to them as Cybertronians.
Yeah.
And they just started using Transformers. I think my favorite, one of my favorite things about Transformers Prime is that they never say Transformers. The only time they do is one time when Arachnid says it mockingly to Silas.
Yeah.
It's like, you're looking for, what did you call them? Transformers, was it?
Yeah.
Just mocks him for saying something so incredibly stupid sounding.
Yeah. Well, you know, those movies aren't super. Those movies aren't super concerned with the lore in the first place. So.
Yeah, true. And
there's a little bit of it, like with at least in Revenge, with the history of the Fallen and the in the Matrix and the Council of Primes or whatever that.
Yeah, but it's very poorly explained in that one. I think they only put that in there because they were absolutely on a deadline and they couldn't figure out any way to write around it.
Yeah, that might have been why it was so weird at the time.
Yeah. I think they bashed through the script in like 6 weeks. Like if I remember correctly, Michael Bay, Roberto Orci, and Alex Kurtzman, like each of them went to a hotel for 6 weeks. Each of them got a room, and they just kind of met together during that 6-week period and just bashed the script out.
See, to my mind, that makes sense, but I'm guessing that's not usually how film production works.
It's really not. Like normally a script is done over the course of a couple of months.
Yeah.
Like 3 months, 3 to 6 months is the general time it takes to write a script. Like 6 weeks is how long it takes for a first draft.
Right.
And, over the course of a few months, that draft is corrected and it's rewritten and eventually it gets to the shooting script. With Revenge of the Fallen, they couldn't actually do that, so the first draft ended up being the shooting script.
Good to see to me. Excuse me, I'm eating some granola.
Which is probably how we had such sterling writing as "Give me your face" in the final product.
What did I say?
And Sam's mom eating a pot brownie.
Yeah. Well, let's be honest. I was going to get in another way. Usually when I hear about these sorts of things, the process, and how long it takes, it's usually like in relation to game writing and not in relation to movie writing. So like when a guy who works on a game says, "Oh yeah, I spent 6 months on the script," I'm like, I believe that. But when it's like a film, I'm like, well, a film's a lot shorter, so obviously the time to take the script is actually a lot shorter too.
Well, in regards to the script writing for the movie, you actually have to work with a lot of the producers and try and figure out exact budgeting for certain action scenes and shit.
That's true.
With games, I kind of feel that's a lot more flexible.
It's a lot more flexible, but I've also heard like with most games, like the actual like script and story and whatnot is kind of made as you go almost. Because by necessity, because like you got to make stuff first, and then you got to use that stuff. You might not always just be able to make whatever the fuck you wrote. Yeah. So it's good to be flexible there. But specifically, I was referring to those interviews where Kodaka said how long it took him to write the various Danganronpa scripts, and I think I remember this. I think he said he wrote the script for the first game in 4 months. The script for DR2 in 8 months, and V3 took him a year and a half.
Yeah.
To which I'm like, that might have been more of a flexible process too, because I don't think V3 was in production for more than 2 years. So.
Yeah.
I doubt they just sat around and waited for him.
Yeah. So you want to get back to.
Finish your sentences, Kevin.
Want to get back to the podcast, like next segment?
Yeah, I mean, if I must.
We must.
Frankly, I just like shooting the shit. But if you want to be structured and whatnot, it's fine.
I love that too, but at the same time, it's like, come on.
I don't want to. I want to lay out and play video games.
Sounds like a good idea, but not terribly productive.
Don't say that word. It triggers me.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Anyway, so yeah, let's get back to that.
Dog, that is not a good place to be laying down. People walk there.
I'm sorry. Is your dog on the show now?
No.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
That's what I fucking thought. All right. We're turning in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Baka Gaijin show.
Welcome.
Oh, no, it's coming.
Perfect return.
Exactly. That's how we do things here. All right, so we're gonna talk about Death Note.
Yeah. Earlier this.
So we're gonna talk about the anime first because I mean, we want to avoid the pain as long as possible.
Prolong the inevitable, as it were.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you start with your history with Death Note.
I watched it forever ago, and I watched it. This music is really bad for this. I watched it forever ago, and every now and again I watch it again. And I watched it like a month ago, and it was good. And that's what I did. I don't really have a I don't really have a complex history with that. It's just it's one of those quote unquote gateway anime, which I hate that term, but
yeah,
that I got into in probably like I don't know, I want to say like 2008, maybe. And then I've probably seen it like 5 or 6 times since, just because it's that good.
Yeah. With me, I actually hadn't seen Death Note until this month.
Yeah.
Like I hadn't really watched it, like sat down and watched it until this month. Because back in high school, it was on Adult Swim, and I watched like 1 or 2 episodes, like passively.
Yeah.
Bored, and I think there was a show coming on afterwards that I wanted to watch.
Was it Geass?
It might have been Code Geass.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I just wasn't terribly interested in it at the time. And it wasn't until like this month where I said, "Hey man, since that new Death Note movie is coming out, I should like we should do like a podcast on it and talk like adaptations and shit." And he's like, "Have you seen Death Note?" And I'm like, "No." And it's like, "Why the fuck are you watching the Death Note movie without watching the Death Note anime first?" And I'm like, "I can do that if you want me to."
I can also vouch for the fact that he phrased it exactly as "you want should." You want? Should we talk about the Death Note?
You want? Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I was like, we should, like, and you know,
again.
You want, we should. That is an actual way of phrasing a sentence.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
It's like, I just, and he's like, why aren't you watching the anime first? And I'm like, if you want me to, I can. It's like, it's on Netflix. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, with the
fine.
dub finally. I remember it was on Netflix for like a year, and it only had the Japanese track for a while.
Yeah, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but the dub is just really, really good.
Yeah. And you're like, are you sure it's good? I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I actually had to ask him. It's like, okay, before I start Death Note, is the dub really as good as everyone says it is? And he's like, absolutely.
Yep. No. I didn't say that. I said the Anubis thing. I was like, certainly.
Because here's the thing. I have this problem when people say, "Oh, this dub is so good, it's so classic, it holds up amazingly," and then I watch it and the dub is terrible.
Yeah,
like it does not hold up. Like the best example I can think of is Tenchi Muyo. So many people love that dub, and more power to them. First time I tried watching that dub, I had to switch it back to the Japanese track within 10 seconds because none of the characters sounded good. Like, I know it's really hard for me to say stuff like this because these are such iconic performances and people love them, and I'm not trying to shit on the actors for it or anything, but it's when you're miscast, you're miscast.
Yeah.
And I really think most of the actors for the Tenchi Muyo dub were miscast. Tenchi is voiced by Matt Miller, and I think I've heard him described as Kermit the Frog like a deeper voice Kermit the Frog, which is not that far off. Which is very different from Megumi Ogata's more boyish sound.
Yeah.
And his voice just doesn't really work when Tenchi has to do yelling or action scenes, which he has to do a lot because he's the main character.
Yeah.
Ryoko is supposed to have this womanly, sort of sensual sound to her, but she sounds way older than she actually is. Or way older than she's supposed to sound. Washu has the same problem, because Washu is probably the biggest problem I have, because Washu's character has like 2 different modes for her voice. Normally she speaks with a very mature sound, but occasionally when she wants to act cute, she hikes up her voice into a cutesy tone. And Kate Vogt just cannot do it. Like she can't really nail that.
You can't do it, Kate Vogt. You can't do it.
She can't nail that duality of the character very well, and
It reminds me of Samuel L. Jackson and Jumper. Some things you just can't jump on.
And like there are good actors in that dub. Like Sherry Lynn plays both Sasami and Kione. Yeah. And I think she does a really good job. Well, okay, she plays Kione up until the second Pretty Sammy OVA, after which she's voiced by Wendy Lee.
Yeah.
But Sherry Lynn does a really good job. Debbie Derryberry, who later went on to do Jimmy Neutron amazingly.
I also know her. You also may know her from Zatch Bell as Zatch Bell.
Yeah. Debbie Derryberry was the voice of Mihoshi, and I think she did a really good job with that character. But, the vast majority of, like, the major characters just have, in my opinion, just very poor casting.
Yep. This is gonna be a little spicy, a little controversial. I honestly feel that way about the DM dub, honestly.
The Duel Monsters?
Yeah.
Because
here's the thing, like, it's iconic and there's memes and whatever. It's just not great though.
Yeah.
And I've always said that that's the only dub of Yu-Gi-Oh! Where they had any passion for what they were doing at all. That's the only one where the original music isn't bad. And
it's clear the people who were dubbing it had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, which was but was completely lost over the years. I can't pinpoint to you exactly when they stopped caring. My guess is GX season 3, which is ironic because that's when that show gets good. But I'm gonna say around GX season 3 is when they really stopped giving a shit. Although I would personally argue with myself, because I just said I would say, but I'm going to argue with myself, when they decided to replace all the original GX music with just one guy with a synth guitar, just one guy with a synth guitar can do all this music. Yeah. But yeah, I feel that way.
I do have to give, I did watch a number of episodes of the original Duel Monsters, because back in, I think 4th or 5th grade, one of my friends in class would actually bring over Yu-Gi-Oh! Tapes and we'd watch them. I do have to give the Duel Monsters composer for the English dub credit for actually trying to get a unique sound for the English dub.
Yeah.
He actually tried to get the traditional Egyptian sound.
Yeah, which is not something the original soundtrack did a whole lot.
So point to the dub composer there.
Yeah, although you do mess out on shit like Passionate Duelist and whatnot, but
fuck yeah.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I can't. It's more script, it's more editing, it's more stuff like that. It's not so much the performances, although they're obviously affected by those things.
Yeah.
There's I know everyone loves Dan Green and Eric Stewart, and that's fine. But I'm going to be 100% honest with you. All they do is yell at each other.
Which is fun and all, but,
Yeah, it's fun in the same way watching two guys yell at each other in a room is fun, but like it's not what was originally there or intended. There was a lot more nuance to it originally that just got lost. And it's not their
watching a
it's
video.
not their fault. It's just how it is.
I was actually watching a video recently where the dub actors for Merrick and Pegasus actually narrated an actual Duel Monsters match.
Yeah.
Which was fun.
Oh, I mean those VA duels they do at conventions and tournaments. And
yeah,
stuff?
yeah, that one, yeah.
Yeah, they do that a lot, and I'm just sitting there like, I mean, they're cool, but the Japanese ones are cooler because they've got like a huge screen and effects and shit, and they're actually like acting and doing it themselves, and not just like doing voiceover while other people play the game, which is like okay, whatever.
Like no, like the actors actually play the game.
Yeah, like it's like you ever see the Japanese VA duels? Like they're really cool because they're like up on a stage.
Okay, yeah, that's like, fucking badass sounding.
And they got like a huge screen behind them that's got all like the visual summoning effects and stuff, and like the music's intense and stuff like that. And I'm really into it. But like American duels, we're just like, okay, let's get some Konami employees and we'll have them like play with stacked decks on a table and put the camera face down on the table, and then just have the VAs like narrate it to the side a little bit. Because they can't be bothered to pick up cardboard themselves or something, you know.
You got to link me to like a subtitled version of one of the Japanese cast.
I don't know if anyone subs them, but like they're not that hard to follow. Yeah, Locke could probably bring up one of those, but yeah, like it's just one of those things where I'm just like, yeah, it's iconic, and yeah, you probably have fond memories of it, but like it's not.
But anyway, yeah,
good.
But yeah, he said the Death Note dub was amazing, and it's like, please watch it dubbed. And I'm like, all right, if you're saying I should watch it dubbed, then I believe you.
Yeah.
Watch. He's going to watch one of these days. He's going to recommend me a terrible dub out of spite. And I'm just going to look at him and say, "You son of a bitch!"
I don't, because that's the thing. Like, I feel like I avoid that. Like I don't know. Like, I could tell you to watch DR3 dubbed. I'm not going to. But.
Yeah, no. I'm fairly certain you actually want me to enjoy Danganronpa 3. So
as much as possible, yes.
Look, I'm sure the dub actors for the Danganronpa 3 dub had a lot of fun and they enjoyed it. And
that's the problem. They were having fun when they should have been doing their jobs.
Well, I mean, you don't have to necessarily.
No. I'm not saying those things are mutually exclusive. I'm saying that when Funimation's scriptwriters get involved, those things do become mutually exclusive.
They were just saying what was on the script. It's like, it wasn't really their job to. You know,
I mean, it's the script, it's the voice direction. It's wrong. Like they don't treat the property seriously. It's like it's not quite like Shin-chan gag dub levels or anything, but like there's like a bit of that, like that infamous. Remember when Gyrus was going off on what the fuck is his name, Tatum, for the script changes to Assassination Classroom?
Yeah.
And they don't ruin it. They don't make it into a total gag dub or anything. But like, there's just nuances that are lost and things that should be taken seriously that aren't taken seriously. And it's all because of fucking Tatum and his legion of followers. Tatum and the Tatumites, you know. Yep.
I'm not gonna say anything regarding like any of that, but yeah, it's like. When a dub doesn't work, a dub doesn't work. So
yeah, I feel like we've talked about Tatum before. I don't know.
Yeah, but anyway, I watched Death Note. Now I was going through some personal family issues at the time, so I didn't think I was actually going to be able to watch Death Note very fast. So I kind of figured it's like maybe one episode a day until the movie comes out.
Yeah.
I ended up just blowing through the entire thing in 5 days because it turns out depression is really, really useful for getting through your anime backlog.
Yeah. What else are you going to do? Cry?
It's weird for me to say this, but it's just much easier to just kind of lose yourself in a show and forget about your worries for a few hours as you just...
Okay, so Locke posted Yuya vs. Jack. This one actually is subbed.
All right, neat. I'll check that out later. But...
yeah.
But yeah, I actually had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was a really good show. Loved the dynamic between, as usual, it's like, this is basically shit that everyone says about the show. Ryuka's really fun. The dynamic between Light and L is fantastic. It has amazing direction. Like, visually, it's stunning.
Yeah. It is such a shame the show wasn't made like a year later, like actually in HD.
Yeah. Although the upscale from Viz actually looks pretty good.
It does, and like the version that's on Netflix right now looks really good.
Yeah, there's actually a trailer for it on my Hunter x Hunter Blu-ray, and it has a direct side-by-side comparison, and the jump in quality is huge.
Yeah, I don't know what wizardry they're getting up to over there at Viz HQ, but they're doing something right.
It just shows that, like, when you have the original SD masters, like, if you have like really good quality SD masters and a competent upscaling team, you can actually do wonders.
Yeah. And I imagine they've preserved the masters pretty damn well, considering how much Japan seems to love remaking this fucking thing.
Yeah, I bet. But it's hard to notice in the original SD footage due to like compression artifacts and shit. But Death Note actually has artificial film grain, and it's actually a lot easier to see in the HD upscale.
Yeah, but it's not like bad film grain. It's like it's good. Good film grain.
No, it's supposed to look that way. It looks good.
Yeah,
kind of gives it an older classic feel to it. I like it.
It got like it has like a realism to it almost, which is something like I think I complained about this when I was watching Parasite because I was like, oh my god, it's gonna be like the same people and they're gonna like a similar sort of situation happening, and like the direction in Parasite is just so bland.
Yeah. But
like that is not a visually interesting show when things are not transforming into hideous mutations. But, like every other time, Death Note makes like ordinary like places just look cool and in like the cool places to be.
One of the best examples I can think of Death Note's like fantastic visual direction is actually the end of episode 7 with the death of Naomi Misora.
Yeah,
where Light reveals.
Spoilers, I guess. Whatever. Fuck.
Come on, we're talking about the entire show. Come on.
Yeah, no, I just know.
But it's like
my elders told me.
He reveals he's Kira, and she just kind of walks off because he just wrote her name down in the Death Note and her method of death, and because she's supposed to commit suicide and make it so that it's like no one will find her body.
Yeah.
And the only indication you see that she's dead is she walks off into the distance, the background fades away, and she just walks up to a gallows with a hanging noose. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And the episode just ends there. Like,
yeah,
damn.
She was also
I think that was the point where I was like fully on board with Death Note because I actually had to stop there for a few minutes and go, damn.
Yeah. She's also voiced by Tabitha St. Germain, which is nice.
Oh, yeah. Tabitha St. Germain is, like, amazingly versatile as an actress.
I'm sorry, Jeremy, but she's the better Shauna.
Like, she voices...
Only by a bit, but, like, yeah.
Yeah, she's Shauna in Shakugan no Shauna. She's fucking Rarity from My Little Pony Friendship is Magic.
Yeah.
She's Naomi Misora from Death Note. Like, Tabitha has incredible range for, like, it's honestly kind of amazing. Like, I wish she were in more Western, like American productions.
Yeah.
Like, I wish she were in American productions. She's Canadian.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I wish I heard all these fucking people more because they're great.
Oh, yeah, like Brad Swaley and...
Brad Swale was also in the first season of Shotgun Noshana. And they replaced him with Greg Ayers. And I just had to do a double take, like,
the fuck?
Okay.
One of the interesting casting choices I found for that for the Death Note dub was actually Alessandro Giuliani.
Yeah.
Because he's not traditionally a voice actor. He's actually best known as being in Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And
some one and done guys here.
Like, I wasn't entire. It's like here's the thing. Normally when an actor is brought over from live action productions, like there's a little bit of a weird disconnect.
Yeah.
But you could really tell Alessandro Giuliani knew exactly what he was doing with Elle, because he's probably next to Brad Swaley, he's probably the best performance in the dub.
Yeah. It's hard for me to judge because there's so many great ones. Like, I really like, I forget who it is, but I really like Soichiro's VA.
Oh yeah, him. Like the scene later on in the series where he's with Light and Misa in the car.
Yeah.
Like that scene was phenomenal.
My son, from one murderer to another, I'll see you in hell.
That was amazing.
Yeah. It's Chris Britton, by the way.
Ah, yeah. They're like, it's honestly really hard to pick a particularly weak performance in this dub because everyone turns in a great performance. Like, I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is either. Everything just kind of clicked.
Like the actors must have really understood their characters in the show, as did the director, as did the writers, as did the engineers. Like everyone must have just understood what Death Note was going for and just kind of did it.
Yeah.
And even in points where the dub would normally be considered weak, like there's one scene I can remember where in the Japanese version I switched back and forth for a couple scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Where in one scene in the Japanese version, L reveals himself to Light and says, "I am L."
Yeah.
The Japanese line is a slow "Watashi wa Eru desu," and it echoes.
Yeah.
But the English dub goes a totally different direction with it by having Alessandro Giuliani whisper almost sensually, "I wanted to tell you, I am L."
Yeah.
And there's like no echo at all. There's just silence afterwards. And honestly, I like how the dub did it.
Yeah.
Because it felt kind of more intimate when Giuliani did the whispering bit.
Yeah.
And I think the silence worked better than the over the top echoing, because it just felt like it was a much better way of portraying that beat of Light processing what he just heard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like that decision was more based on lip flaps than anything else, but yeah, it was really good.
But based on lip flaps, yeah, but he made it work, and that's the big thing there. Because a lot of actors struggle with lip flap issues, and their performances suffer for it, but I don't think the performances ever really suffered for Death Note.
No.
I
He
think
also reportedly actually ate food when he was eating food, which is
That's how I understand it. Yes.
Yeah. Which is usually not something you do in like voice recording.
To be fair, though, L eats a lot, so that kind of just goes with the territory. I mean, if your character's gonna be eating, you might as well be eating in the
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's kind of hard to just put your finger in your mouth the entire time while you're talking. So you might as well just eat with your character.
Yeah.
Just make them work. Because that's normally what they do. They like pull their cheek apart when they're trying to eat or something.
Yeah.
Which gets a similar effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's only for like one-off instances. With L, it's consistent.
Yeah, it's true.
So you don't want to taste your finger the entire day. So let's be fair there. No one wants to taste their finger for 6 hours.
It's true.
But
yeah, I was go on.
Is there any part of the show like you want to talk about? Because 37 something I want to talk about personally.
Okay,
but I'll let you go first.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Locke sent me something. Yeah. Memes. I guess what we can talk about is like the general belief, because some like I don't really agree with the general belief that the show's last core isn't as strong as what came before it.
Damn it! That's what I was going to talk about. Jeez, we're on the same page here. That's good.
Well, it's like we share the same birthday that you stole or something.
Hold the fuck up.
Waiting on that birth certificate, Kevin.
I'll just ask my mom what time of the day was I born.
All right.
But watch, I'm born before you, and you're just gonna be like, no.
I'm a criminal mastermind.
Geigakudori. Yeah, there seems to be this common, like, I see this a lot, and I've seen it a lot, and I continue to see it a lot. That people think that after, okay, again, spoilers, after Elle dies, the series gets bad until like the final episode, or the series somehow becomes dramatically worse.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, I didn't get that, because I will admit, Nier and Mello are nowhere near as interesting, either individually or as a whole, as Elle is. And that does make parts of the show suffer, but I don't think the second part is overall bad.
Yeah.
Because it still has a lot of the same aspects that make the first part work. It's still a battle of wits between a high level between an incredibly brilliant detective and this serial murderer.
Yeah.
And it still has a lot of the and you know, Mello actually makes for an interesting antagonist character.
Yeah.
I think Mello's the only real antagonist in the show aside from Light.
Right. Well, it depends on what perspective you're talking about, but
like Light's sort of a villain protagonist, but actually he actually is a villain protagonist.
Yeah. That's something else I'll talk about later, but yeah.
But you know, I just wanted to bring it up for a second, but yeah, that's something like I saw a tweet saying the people who like the live action Death Note movie are people who have never seen the anime or like the second half, and I'm like, I like the second half and I hate the movie.
Yeah.
It's like there seems to be this weird belief that the second half is inherently bad, and it really isn't. It's just Elle's not there.
Yeah.
Elle's replaced with a character who's basically Elle with white hair.
Not necessarily. Nier's
okay, I'm saying that in more of a general sense, not necessarily that is exactly his character, but
yeah. Like Nier, like the way the creators describe Nier is like darker, colder, angrier, more vengeful, more what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more weirdly cordial, but also cutthroat in a weird way.
I get the feeling he's a lot more direct in his methods than Elle was, because Elle tended to take a long time to try and get down to an absolute 100% consensus on something.
Yeah.
I'm
pretty sure, so let's just go with it and see what happens.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, works a lot better for him.
Yeah.
I think that's sort of a unique flaw of Elle's incredible intellect, is because he was so caught up in the logic of things and trying to be absolutely 100% certain that it kind of ended up costing him his life.
Yeah, and the other thing is, maybe this is my interpretation, I think Elle was too focused on playing the game, whereas Nier was more focused on actually winning the game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, because Nier ended up going through a lot of the same conclusions that Elle had in a far shorter amount of time.
Yeah. Well, it's also partially because, like, and this is something that's, like, weird, because it's like, there's no, as much as I like it, there's no best way to experience the second half, because in the manga, it's drawn out because they wanted exactly 108 chapters. Yeah. But in the anime, it's condensed a bit. Like, I can't remember which episode it is, but there's one episode that adapts literally 9 manga chapters.
Yeah, like an entire volume is crammed into a single episode.
Yeah. So, like, either way, it's like it's either drawn out or, because the one thing everyone points to is
Jen.
Far.
Because the one thing everyone points to. Tell her to shut the fuck up. I'm gonna lynch her.
Whatever. Back to what you were talking about.
The one thing everyone points to is when Nier figures out that Mikami is ex-Kira, because in the anime, he literally, like, his eyes glow and, like, the wind just, like, swirls around him, and then he suddenly turns to a TV with Mikami on it. He's like, that's him. That's the one. But and everyone's like, well, how the fuck did you know that?
Like,
in
you
the
don't
manga,
really
he
get
has
his,
this. Yeah.
Like, you don't really get Nier's entire thought process there.
Yeah, but in the manga, he has a very lengthy explanation about how he deduced that. So there's some stuff like that, but I think it works generally well. It's just in the anime they give like a throwaway line like, I've seen him at various like Kira supporter meetings, and he seems close to Takeda, so that's probably the case. Whereas in the manga is, which is a fine reasoning if you're trying to cut time, but it was a lot more involved in the manga.
Yeah,
I do agree though that I think like, as much as I like Nier, I think he might have been better served being a little bit more different than L.
Yeah,
because I think that was a lot of people's problem with him, was that like he's like a smaller, more childlike, more not simple but more direct version of L, which is what needed to happen. But
I actually looked up. I actually saw the first 2 episodes of the 2015 TV drama.
Yeah,
and I looked up the rest of the material for it, and they actually go in an interesting direction with Nier. One of the big things about the 2015 drama is that it compresses the time frame of the series. There's no time skip.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they do with Nier is that they introduce him at the beginning of the series, and they actually make Mello sort of a split personality to Nier, who is expressed through a puppet that Nier carries around. But people don't refer to Nier and Mello as the same person. They refer to Mello as if he's a completely different person. Like, Mello starts saying shit, and people are like, Mello, let Nier speak.
Yeah.
Which I find is an interesting way of going about that.
Yeah. What else was I gonna say? I was gonna say I had a thought. But and one of the ways that Nier is so direct and more vicious is that, and this is something they left out of the anime because the anime kind of altered the ending in general. But in the manga, Matsuda brings up the possibility that Nier wrote Mikami's name in the Death Note and made him do all that stuff that he did in the finale. So the creators are like, well, maybe he cheated, but quote unquote cheated, but it's never confirmed either way. So it's kind of left ambiguous whether he succeeded L in like a genuine sense or if he quote unquote cheated. So, and I think that ambiguity is really important.
Yeah, and it's kind of left out in the anime.
Yeah, well, because the anime gives Light a slightly more dignified death. Some people accuse the anime being made by Light fanboys. I don't really think so. I think some of the movies are made by Light fanboys, but not so much the anime. Because in the manga, there's like this. It's really kind of like pathetic in the manga because when he's there as Ryuk's writing his name and he's like begging Ryuk to spare his life, and Ryuk's like, "No, you will die just like every other human." Like, he can't, like, in his last moments, Light just can't accept or admit that he wasn't a god. He was just another person with a notebook.
That's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah.
The anime goes for a more understated route by having him die in sort of a crucifix pattern, with sort of like a hallucination of L looking over him.
Yeah. I also really love the fucking, like, at the very, very end after that like more orchestral reprise of the main theme as it goes into the sky.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I do find the mind you, as a Christian, I find it hilariously blasphemous. The constant Jesus symbolism associated with Light. It gets to an absolutely ridiculous degree to some cases.
Yeah.
Like, I swear to God, the scene where L decides to wipe Light's feet down. I swear that's supposed to be I swear that's supposed to be an analogy to a scripture from the Bible where a sinful woman washes Jesus' feet.
And I like to think that was put in by Fujoshi on staff and has nothing to do with that.
It makes too much sense to me though, because L specifically says he's doing this to sort of make up for his sins.
Yeah, which a lot of manga fans hate because it makes it seem like he's admitting defeat. But
you could interpret it that way, but
I don't know how else you do. I don't know how else to interpret that. I think that scene is just. I just like to ignore that scene because it's some anime original shit they threw in there for whatever reason.
I don't know. It could be seen as him apologizing for his more antagonistic behavior. Because like let's be fair,
when you're dealing with a mass serial killer, that sounds like admitting defeat.
I suppose so.
Yeah.
But I just find the constant Jesus symbolism to be funny.
Yeah. I also love
it's like, I get it. He fashions himself a god. You don't have to bang it in.
I also love Ryuk's like subtle almost joke to himself, where at the beginning of the series, like, humans who use the Death Note can neither go to heaven nor hell. And then like the how to read of the last episode's like, all humans will go to nothingness. And he's like, that was a joke because it didn't matter if you used it or not.
You have to remember, didn't Ryuk write the rules?
He didn't make up the rules, but he wrote them.
So it's like it's kind of a practical joke between Shinigami, I guess.
Yeah.
A human who uses the Death Note can neither go to heaven nor hell.
And it's like, well, nobody goes to heaven or hell. You just disappear. So,
oops.
Little death god joke.
I mean, it's kind of touched upon in the first episode where you see the rift between the Shinigami realm and the human realm. Like you see, like don't you see like spirits coming through it? And it's like you don't know where they're going.
No, I think it's just mist. I don't remember though.
I don't know. Shitty DVD. It was not the Blu-ray remaster.
Yeah. What am I gonna say? Brian Drummond's great, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
And something like I really don't like sure we'll get to it later. Willem Dafoe is fine and all, but
yeah.
What am I saying? I really don't like these modern reinterpretations that Ryuk is some sort of villainous corruptor figure.
There's a little bit of that in the 2015 series, but it's mostly just him goading Light into using the Death Note to entertain him.
Yeah.
And
well, even that I feel like it kind of violates his bystander
and giving Light more insight into what the Death Note can do.
Yeah. This is true. I just don't like this modern approach to Ryuk, which makes him more actively active. I think he works better as snide commentary.
Yeah. One of my favorite things about the series is about halfway through, like not the actual quote unquote halfway point, but like halfway through the episodes that there are.
Yeah.
When Light regains the Death Note, when everyone's actually able to see Ryuk.
Yeah.
I actually kind of find it amusing that since Ryuk is there, he's actually not able to make the snide commentary he normally is.
Yeah.
And whenever he does, at least one person in the room is like, "Shut up, Shinigami."
Yeah.
I think one scene that I really liked was with Matsuda, where Ryuk was about to eat an apple. Like, he says something, he's about to eat an apple, and Matsuda's just like takes the apple from him.
I think my favorite is when Nier drops all that money. He's like, "That's gonna be like $10 million or something," and Ryuk's like, "Ooh, what's that in apples?"
Assuming an apple is like 3 for $1, like 30 million apples.
Yeah.
The big question is, what is Ryuk's favorite kind of apple?
Yeah. My thing, you know what else I don't like is that I'll scroll down. I'm just on TV tropes. This entry here on TV tropes always bothered me. This darkness-induced audience apathy thing.
To be fair, most series that have any level of noticeable dark content get the darkness-induced audience apathy trope.
Yeah, I know, but this one annoys me. Let me read it. This one's like, due to the dark and cynical atmosphere, black and gray morality, anyone can die, cessation of existence, yada yada. The cast does not offer many characters one can truly root for. What few sympathetic ones there are either get killed off or ground into the dirt, if indeed they get any attention. I'm like, did you not watch the show?
Yeah,
like the entire task force is composed of genuinely good cops, most of whom survive.
Hell, Matsuda has his own character arc where he actually tries to be useful.
Yeah.
Like, Matsuda's normally... Like, Matsuda's sort of the third wheel of the police force throughout most of the series. And at one point, he realizes, what worth am I in here? Like, I'm on the side of the good guys and I want Kira dead and that sort of shit. But at the same time, it's like, what have I contributed? So he actually goes out of his way to contribute to the Kira investigation to his own detriment and nearly gets himself killed in the process. But at the same time, he actually gets them closer to figuring things out than they would have gotten otherwise.
Yeah. And then, like, Aizawa has that whole bit of focus on him in, like, the second-ish half of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not Mogi is just kind of there. He's just kind of the workhorse of the group, but, you know, whatever.
It works.
Yeah. Yeah, like that entire task force, who you pretty much follow the whole time, is mostly comprised of honest cops who occasionally question things, but mostly just want to catch Kira and do the right thing.
Yeah, because there are actual questions regarding the morality of what they're doing and what they can and what they should or should not do to try and catch Kira.
Yeah.
And you know, the ethicality of the Death Note.
Yeah, like the only one of them that dies pointlessly is Ukita, and we didn't get to know him that well anyway. And then like Soichiro dies, but he gets like legitimately the happiest ending in the series. So
he kind of does.
It's kind of
like to him, he's relieved that he believes his son is not Kira.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's probably the best ending he could have possibly had. If he had lived, he would have to deal with his son dying in front of him.
Yeah, which happens in some of the movies, I think.
Oh God.
Yeah. Which
like, honestly, Soichiro got the easy way out.
Yeah. I think I'm just reading the thing. The creators describe Soichiro as like the most pure character in the series.
Yeah, I can definitely get that because he's really the only person who brings up major opposition to a lot of L's more morally questionable actions, like locking up Misa in Light and questioning them over the course of over a month, like 45 days.
It was 50 days, yeah.
50 days, yeah. Like over the course of 50 days, like he kept, you know, he was getting very pissed off at L for doing these things because it's like, what is wrong with you? And he's like, if you're going to do this, at the very least, lock me up too. Yeah. And, you know, he gives a very good reason why, because it's like, if I'm not locked up, I'm going to do something that I'm going to regret.
Yeah. He just comes across as like the most genuine and the most what's what I'm looking for? Reasonable, I guess.
Yeah.
Because everything L does and says makes sense to him, but like sometimes he gets too caught up in his own in playing the game, as it were.
Yeah, playing the game and trying to follow his own internal logic to really see or really give a shit about like the ethics of his own actions and the morality of the situation. Like, he doesn't really focus on that too much. His main focus is simply bringing Kira to justice through the law.
Yeah, and he's not like he's nowhere near as like he's nowhere near as fuck everything as Mello, but like he's got like,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And we're gonna get to that, but that's one of my complaints about the new film is that I feel like we'll get to it. But
yeah.
Oh, what was I gonna say? But yeah, I just like that. Like, it's just like
mellow.
Yeah. It's so the series is just so well directed and so well paced. It's like I hate the term gateway anime, but it really is kind of that, because it's not like
it's not your typical. It's interesting. It's a gateway anime, but it's not your typical gateway anime. It's not really an action series. It's sort of a procedural crime drama / psychological thriller.
Yeah, with like one central supernatural element. You know, that like is the premise.
It amazed me how little the supernatural content actually shows up in the show. It focuses mostly on just being a crime drama.
Yeah, because even the one supernatural element has like all these rules and the ways it works. Like it's almost like
one of my favorite. One of the best things about Death Note is this is something that was brought up in a review of the movie. That one of the best things about Death Note is watching Light as a character, trying to see how he can make the limits of the Death Note work to his advantage.
Right.
Like, one of the biggest gambits he has in the entire series is when he gives up the Death Note, forgets that he's Kira, and has to actually prove to the police force, L, and his father that he is not Kira, even when he actually is. And then when he finally gets the Death Note back, he's, for all intents and purposes, he's cleared, and he can continue his work. And like a lot of people meme on the Justice Plan scene, but it is a brilliant reveal that everything has been perfectly orchestrated by Light to this point.
Yeah.
And it is just one of those moments where you're just like, oh, you dirty son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Light is a perfect love to hate character.
Yeah. That's the other thing I want to talk about is like this there's such a weird like Draco and leather pants around Light, and it gets to the point where it influences these later adaptations.
Like there seems to be, I've noticed like a lot of later adaptations, TV drama especially. Like the TV drama actually focuses very early on Light's personal life and him struggling with his own morality regards to the Death Note. Like,
and that's the thing. Like that's the thing. The original Light did not struggle with morality. Fuck morality. He's better than everyone else.
Yeah, the only time he actually struggled with anything was, does this thing actually fucking work?
Yeah.
That was his only concern. It's like, he wrote down one name, something happened, it's like, I need to do an experiment. And then he did an experiment live, and then he realized, it fucking works. And then he just started killing people.
Yeah, he has, like, after he kills that guy outside the convenience store, he literally has like 2 seconds of second thoughts before he's like, yes, I can be the god of the world.
I can be the god of this new world.
Yeah, and the way the writers describe it is that he had been raised to be this model student, this perfect civilian, this citizen, whatnot. And as soon as he killed someone with the notebook, just as a thought, just sort of like maybe this can't possibly work, and it works. As soon as that happened, he was no longer perfect. He was no longer that model citizen, student, whatever.
Yeah,
he's no longer perfect. So in his sociopathic mind, the only way to retain that status, that perfection, that sense of self, is to make it so that he's not a murderer, he's not a criminal, he's a divine god of justice, because like God is not held to the same scrutiny as mankind. So like if he is a god and he eliminates all the other evil in the world, then nobody can claim that he was evil because he was God. It's like he says at the
flawless logic.
Yeah, it's like he says at the near the end, where it's like, if Kira gets caught, then he's a criminal. If he wins, then he's justice. You know.
Yeah, Which is where the whole Kira is justice thing came from.
Yeah,
he was this omnipotent force.
And people, I feel like so many people focus so much on the quote unquote plight of his quote unquote noble cause, when the manga and the anime never want you to think of it that way. They never want you to think of it as anything noble, because it's just an excuse. It's just it's the excuse of a lunatic, really.
It's honestly kind of alarming when people are like, maybe Light was right, and that Kira actually was. No, what are you doing? Stop.
Yeah, I think they saw that.
Desist. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, I think they saw that as the series is running, and that's why Nier just shuts down all of his arguments at the end. He's like,
yeah,
"You're nothing more than a crazy serial killer. Nothing more, nothing less."
Yeah, but people fucking ignore that, and it's like, no, Light was actually doing right. It's like,
and this is what I like to say. Is like, a character doesn't have to be sympathetic to be interesting.
Yeah.
The extent of Light's sociopathy is interesting by itself. You don't
can get more into that later.
Yeah, like the effect of his sociopathy and his mindset and how he thinks about things. That's interesting. You know, that's interesting on its own. You don't need to make him sympathetic, like, oh, this noble cause, and it's because it was all an excuse to begin with. And the first episode almost point blank tells you this. Like at the very end, where he's like, you know, if you do that, you'll be the only bad guy left. And he's like, what are you talking about? The first episode literally tells you his mindset. He doesn't give a damn about the cause, or at least when he's honest with himself, which is not often. He doesn't give a damn about the cause. It's just a reasoning for him to do the thing he wants to do.
Yeah. And it really is alarming to me that so many people try to bring up questions of, was Light truly all that evil? Yes, he was. That was the point.
Yeah.
And honestly, the fact that people, it just really is alarming to me that people look at the original series and see Light as some sort of noble or sympathetic figure, someone who had noble intentions. He really didn't.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that, oh, you're just dismissing philosophical argument or whatever. I'm not saying that, because sure, there's a philosophical argument to be had about death penalties and whatever the fuck.
Oh yeah,
but like,
and due process of law.
Yeah, and shit like that. And what is justice and shit like that. But that's the thing. Like, Light isn't focused on those questions. This series is not, well, to some extent, is not focused on those questions. It just wants to be an entertaining thriller following a sociopath.
Yeah, that's one of the big things that the writers actually said. If I remember correctly, they said the reason it's shonen is because it's actually relatively straightforward in that regard. They just wanted to create an entertaining thriller. But if
like it hints to those bigger questions, because anything that's truly well written is going to hint at those kinds of bigger questions, but it doesn't truly explore those things. It's more interested in just being entertaining, and it is, and interesting and it is, just not in the way you think it is.
You know, something funny that just occurred to me, like I just remembered. For whatever reason, when the live action movie came out, a lot of people just suddenly started popping out of the woodwork. I'll get into this again later, but so people just suddenly started popping out of the woodwork saying, it's like, you know, guys, you're like, yeah, the Death Note movie's bad, but Death Note's always been bad. And I'm like, that doesn't excuse a bad adaptation. Like,
there's always that. There's always that, but it's like, it was never. I don't know what I'm supposed to say.
It's like, no, it didn't exactly. It didn't exactly delve deep into these themes, but it didn't need to, and it didn't have to. The only thing it really needed to be was an entertaining crime thriller, and that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think there's a subsection of fans who like to see Death Note as more than it is, and that's fine. If you like it that much, you can see whatever you want in it. But like, that doesn't dismiss what a well-produced and entertaining, and at times thought-provoking ride that it is.
Yeah,
you know, it's just not. It's not great literature, and it doesn't have to be. And I hate that term, but like, it's not. And it doesn't have to be good. And like, you know, and if the people now are just like, well, this new movie sucks because it wasn't any of those things, or this movie sucks, but the show also sucked because it was also just trying to be an entertaining thriller. Well, that's the thing, because this show was good at being an entertaining thriller. The movie is not.
But yeah,
And it really is that simple.
But yeah, Death Note anime, really good. The last third of it does stumble a little bit, but I feel it really regains its ground. And by the end of it, it has a really good ending. Like, I will give it that.
Yeah.
And I just had a lot of fun with this one.
Yeah, I feel like if the second half, first of all, was more of a half and less of a third,
Yeah.
and I had more time to really get into more complex scenarios with Mello and Nier's rivalry, which doesn't really go a whole lot because they're both doing stuff at the same time, but like it never really feels like they're really competing with each other, really.
Yeah, it just seems more like their individual goals seem to overlap at some point.
Yeah, but
like Mello wants the Death Note, Nier wants the Death Note, and they have.
You know what it feels like? It feels like, okay, I got a great idea for the second hour. We're gonna have two distinct detective figures that are like not quite opposites, but like very distinct and different from each other, and they're gonna be like L's successors competing to see who can catch Kira. I'm like, oh, that sounds like a good idea for a new arc. Do we have enough chapters left in our 108 chapter plan that we have to stick to for some reason? To do that is like, I don't know, maybe let's just start writing it and see where it goes. And then by the time they might have thought of something that's like, we don't have quite enough chapters. It felt like it wasn't as well planned. Like it felt like maybe if they had planned it better, they could have fit something a lot way more interesting in there. But like they kind of like waited to see how they were going to do that, and then by the time they got to that point, they were just like, let's just wrap it up. And I've been there. This is why no matter how important the number 108 is, you probably shouldn't have an arbitrary chapter limit for just the sake of it. Yeah. But
just end the story when the story is supposed to end. Don't try to rush it or try to draw it out more than it needs to be rushed.
Because it's just, I don't know. It just feels like it's still good. It just feels like an arbitrary reason for it not to be better. Yeah. Although I don't know. I feel like bringing Light down was that L's failure was necessary and the time skip was necessary because you needed that period of Light growing cocky because that's how ultimately he's beaten.
And you also needed to see Kira slowly actually become law to the general public.
Yeah, so that you can tear Light down.
That's one of the big and most interesting things about the series is that you see Kira slowly become the actual law of the world.
Yeah.
And people viewing Kira as being the ultimate form of justice.
Yeah.
People like kids saying, "You better not talk bad about me, or I'll post your name online, and Kira will see it and he'll kill you."
Yeah. That shit was
stuff like that.
Yeah, that shit was a little unnerving.
Oh yeah, that's like, oh god. Ugh.
Yeah.
That was just creepy.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of it's interesting. Death Note is not ostensibly a horror series, but it does have a number of horror elements. A lot of the horror comes from the consequences of the morality of what Light is doing, or lack thereof.
I really love that in like the same montage as that scene of the kid who just like got brought in by the police for probably some minor thing. He was like, "No, not my name,"
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just showcases that it's like, yeah, people will stop acting up, but it's out of fear rather than actual peace.
Yeah.
And do you really want that? I wouldn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And that's the greater thing, which is that like, because Light's justice is not the justice of anyone who cares about justice. It's the justice of a sociopath who just wants to be superior to other people. So there's a zero tolerance for that sort of thing because he doesn't care necessarily that you do wrong. He just cares that you fulfill an arbitrary criteria for him to kill you.
I think the people who this is probably just me projecting, and whatever. Yeah. But this is possibly just me projecting. But I get the feeling that the people who think Kira is actually the real justice and that what Light was doing was right, I think those people may have some sort of sense of like inflated sense of self-worth and Like they view themselves as beings. Like I've never done anything wrong. Why do
Yeah,
I
yeah,
have
yeah.
to hide?
Yeah,
It's like but what about other people?
I'm just but what about other people? And also like
And
you're
what is
not
really
you're not perfect. You're not infallible. One day you're gonna be that. One day you could be that kid in the police station who just did something. Who was just a dumb kid who made a mistake. And like, should your entire life be over just because of that? You know,
Exactly.
you're probably not gonna think so at the time. You know when that happens. It's so easy when you're sitting on your high horse and you're like, well, I'm not in trouble at the It's like the fucking kids on the playground. They're like point and laugh whenever anyone's like, oh, you're in trouble. I was like, yeah, well, when it's you in trouble, you don't feel the same way. Now, do you?
Yeah.
You know, because everybody makes mistakes and everybody should be given the opportunities to atone and make up for those mistakes. And that's why the justice of Kira is the justice of a sociopath, is because it doesn't allow for that kind of thing. Because it's not about
Bingo.
that. It's about one guy and his god complex. Which again, is interesting.
Probably the one.
Go on, it's fine. Go on.
That's probably the one big thing you can talk about Death Note in regards to deeper themes.
Yeah.
Because that's actually the intent of the series.
Yeah. So there's that. No, yeah, so there's that.
Yeah.
All right. Score's pretty memorable.
Oh, absolutely. Like, who did the score for this one?
I don't fucking remember.
Googling it right now.
All right.
Watch as Locke says it before I do, and I'm like, you bitch!
Yeah, these sorts of things happen. Race is on, Locke.
Death Note was composed by Yoshihisa Hirono and Hideki Taniguchi. Yoshihisa Hirono is the composer for...
Just like not bothering.
Is the composer for Ouran High School Host Club, Resident Evil Dark Side Chronicles, Final Fantasy 13, and the Hunter x Hunter reboot.
Oh yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And Hideki Taniguchi is the composer for Kaiji and the opening theme song for Hajime no Ippo. Oh, and he was arrested for marijuana charges in 2012.
Obviously. Who hasn't? Yeah.
Who hasn't? The writer of Shaman King.
You'll never catch me alive, coppers. Yeah.
It's like, we know he does it. We just can't pin him yet.
Yep. That's right. So after a short break, you want to talk about this movie?
Oh, yes, I do.
All right. And we'll see you guys after the break. Stay tuned to the Baka Gaijin show. Cut.
All right, be right back.
All right, back to you.
Shit. It is dark in here. Whoa. Shit. Outside. Hold on. Come on.
That's more like it. Yeah. Boom music. What? Put my fan on. Just for now, just for the break.
I'm back.
Nice. Good job on that not dying. Vulcans never lie. Never, Spock lied.
Good on you, Mr. Spock.
Most of that's great.
Ready when you are.
Yeah, give me a sec. Jeez. Hey Vlad, what are you gonna do with all those sticks? It's a surprise tool that will help us later.
Caesar. Hey, Brutus, what are you going to do with that spear? It's a surprise tool that'll help us later. I think that is a meme that really needed to blow up, but it didn't.
It's not like applicable enough.
It's fun though.
It's very specific.
It's fun to work with though.
Yeah.
It's not as applicable as that one guy looking at a girl while his girlfriend's like, ah.
Yeah, it's pretty damn applicable.
Oh yeah, I saw that Tumblr post you reblogged about the fucking 401.
Yeah.
I hear people get pregnant, give birth on the 401, and the children are the ones to...
Turn this fan off. No, it's hot again, fuck! Why it's gotta be so hot, Daddy? Why?
Stop it. I keep associating that with Akane.
That's too bad. It's gonna happen all the time.
I don't want to imagine Akane saying daddy. Calling people daddy is gross.
Well.
Stop kink shaming me. Kink shaming is my kink. I don't want to do the screen.
Get those Japanese words off of me.
What?
There's a screen cap from Bobo.
Oh yeah. Get those Japanese words off of me.
All right. You ready?
The Bobo dub was phenomenal. I actually watched that a lot on like Cartoon Network when it was airing, and my mom and my sister were like, "Why are you watching that? It's stupid." And I'm like, "But it's funny."
But it's stupid. That may or may not be the point.
It's like something can be stupid and also funny at the same time, you know. Of course, we understand this now.
Yeah.
I was ahead of the curve.
Exactly.
My parents, my mom, my sister, they didn't understand at the time, and now they're like, I get it now.
Yeah. That sounds
Okay.
about right.
Well, ready when you are.
I don't know, Kevin. I'm having some second thoughts, having some doubts.
Well, that means you're better than the filmmakers.
Fuck it. This drawing is terrible. All right. I'm gonna just unclick this pen and reclick it and unclick it and reclick it.
It's a good thing you have a pen.
Ha! I have a pen and you don't.
Okay.
It's one of those weird pens where you unclick it by pushing down the actual fucking clip. It's weird. Anyway, you ready?
Yeah.
Returning to the show.
In 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Baka and Gaijin show. I'm not looking forward to this.
Was it anybody? Me. I kind of was. Because here's the thing.
But you were a fool!
I was a fool! Here, I was expecting it to at least be like Ghost in the Shell, where, you know what?
It's not.
Here's the thing. I want to talk about the Ghost in the Shell movie because I saw that movie about a week and a half before I saw the Death Note movie.
Right.
The Ghost in the Shell movie is not good.
No.
But I get the feeling that the people behind the movie tried. I get the feeling that they genuinely did like the source material, and they genuinely did want to do a good adaptation, but they were hamstrung by executives wanting to make the film accessible to a general audience, which is not something you can do with inherently challenging fiction like Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
I felt they wanted to make a Death Note movie for about 20 minutes for this movie, and then they gave up and said, I'm going to do my own thing. Ever seen Final Destination?
No, I haven't actually.
No, I'm saying that's what the people in this...
I know, I'm just saying I haven't.
But, yeah, the movie's terrible.
Yeah.
I want to talk about some things that I like about this movie before we absolutely just rip into it. Because there's a lot to rip into. Willem Dafoe as Ryuk is obviously the best thing about the movie.
Yeah.
The problem is unfortunately, this comes with a downside. He's really underutilized. I think he gets like 5 scenes in the entire movie.
Yeah.
But you know what? I genuinely get the feeling he understood Ryuk's character, and he did a really good job.
Well, I feel like he understood the version that was written anyway.
He was still a lot of fun, and you know, there were a lot of lines and points with Ryuk where I felt it's like, yeah, that's definitely Ryuk. Yeah. Like when Elle is on TV, and it's like, unless of course you want to kill me right here and right now, and Ryuk's like, now I'm rooting for this guy.
Yeah. And then he has to ruin it with the shut the fuck up.
Light's just like, will you shut the fuck up? Yeah. And it's like, come on, Light, really?
Hey, normal people scare him.
Oh, we'll save that for
Normal people scare me.
I actually had to... Anyway. Talking about good things first. I felt Keith Stanfield was the only guy here who really wanted to represent the original manga like the original anime and manga faithfully, because for a lot of his scenes, at the very least for the first half of the movie, I felt he did a really good job of portraying Elle. Like his personality, mannerisms, and how he went about things was very much Elle.
Here's the thing. I feel like he really wanted to play Elle, but the script really wanted to write him as Mello. And these two things, they don't fit. They don't work.
Yeah, like you could get some, like early on, even when he is being Elle, you do get the feeling like this character is going to go off the deep end at some point, and it's not going to be recognizable at Elle in any way, shape, or form. Guess what happens? Mostly because Elle starts acting rather impulsively, and his emotions start getting the better of him for some reason. World's greatest detective, my ass.
Yeah.
You know, here's the thing. Elle is, technically speaking, much like in the series, Elle is the smartest character in the series, in the movie.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, due to the fact that everyone else is so fucking stupid, and the movie is paced so poorly, like, this movie has really bad pacing, a lot of Elle's deductive reasoning seems like mind-bending leaps of logic.
Yeah.
Like, he just figures stuff out from incredibly mundane, strange... It's like that one... It's like that scene.
Yeah.
It's like that scene with Nier and Mikami just stretched out over an entire first half of a movie.
Yeah. Yeah,
because that's literally every single deductive moment L has.
Yeah. The fact that he's Japanese is a misdirection. Therefore, he's in Seattle. How do you know that? I read the script. I swear, that was actually my reasoning, because like the whole first time you see him, he's like doing all the L things, the mannerisms, and the way of talking.
And you know, you're starting to get into it. It's like, yeah, okay, I can feel this.
No. I was like, oh, I know how he knows all this, because he's an L cosplayer and he's seen the anime, so he knows exactly what's going to happen.
I did like the first scene with L actually speaking Japanese to it. Like that was cool.
Yeah,
like that was a nice touch. But and the movie at the very least is well put together.
Yeah.
It has solid direction. I will give it that.
Yeah.
Visually, it's very, very impressive, especially since it's technically speaking a direct-to-streaming movie. Like, Ryuk looks fantastic. Like, the special effects on Ryuk are really nice.
Okay, but I feel like they had to keep him in shadow too much to get you from noticing it.
Hey, if it worked, it worked. But although to be fair with Ryuk, if I remember correctly, Ryuk was actually present in the frame. It's just that the only CG was his face.
Yeah.
And it was like motion capture face CG of Willem Dafoe. So, but yeah, those are the good things. Let's talk about the bad things. Literally everything else. Like, oh Lord, where do I start? Let's start with Light. He's the main character. He's an idiot.
He's an idiot.
He's an impulsive, edgy, stupid
person,
idiot.
man.
Like, he is the exact opposite of everything Light was in the original series. Light in the original series was a model student, perfect grades, didn't do anything bad. This, hi, I'm Light Turner, and I cheated on my math test.
Yeah.
It is such a huge departure for the character, and it makes no goddamn sense.
It's like...
And the point with the original character was that he was the last person who would actually possess the Death Note.
This guy is the first person who would possess the Death Note.
People say he looks like people say he's... I swear to God, one of the deleted scenes has to be him in the yearbook with the caption, most likely to shoot up a school.
Yeah. And yet, despite that, this film portrays him way more sympathetically.
That's another problem. It tries to portray a serial killer as a sympathetic character.
Yeah, and it doesn't work because this Light, he has the same noble excuse. And admittedly, I buy it a little bit more than Canon Light because this guy's not as much of an obvious sociopath.
Yeah.
But you get to the point, like, the vibe you get from this guy and his dumb girlfriend are that they're just doing this for kicks. You know, which isn't... I don't think it's outright sociopathy because at a certain point, he's like, oh shit, responsibilities and consequences better shape up. But like,
like one of the big things with movie Light is that with Light Turner, is that like he absolutely does not want to kill the agents looking for him.
Yeah,
because that's morally reprehensible. They haven't done anything wrong. They're doing their job.
Yeah, and then he refuses to kill his dad and stuff.
You know what? The Misa character in this, Mia, is more Light than Light.
I've read something on TV Tropes. I'm gonna bring it up in a second, but like,
because she does all the things that Light is supposed to do. She's the one who's pushing him to look online and take care of all of these criminals, and she's the one who actually kills. She's the one who actually kills the agents looking for him. Like, she's the one who's doing all the Light-like things in this movie, and she's supposed to be Misa. Or ostensibly.
Ostensibly, yeah.
And
I read about that. Someone wrote on TV Tropes. One sec.
But unfortunately, all this ends up going absolutely out the fucking window in the third act, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Because the third act is a cacophony of madness.
The other thing is that Nate Wolff is not a great actor.
No, he's not. Though to be fair, when you're casting one of the two leading boys of God, what was that fucking Nickelodeon show?
I don't know. It sucked.
Fucking boy band. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
The something brothers band or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you're casting that guy as Light Turner.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of get what you pay for.
Originally I read on the trivia.
So I actually saw a funny little comparison. It's like Light in the anime. I've been waiting for you, Ryuk. Light in the movie. Ah! Help! Help! Ah! Ah!
Yeah. Naked Brother Band. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, here's the thing here. Decomposite character. An argument can be made that Light Yagami was split into two characters, Light Turner and Mia Sudden. Turner is the main protagonist, the one Ryuk reaches out to with the Death Note, and has the idealism and general motivations of Light from another adaptation, specifically the TV drama. Mia, however, has Light's sociopathy, god complex, and overall bloodlust, despite supposedly filling the role of Misa Amane. One can interpret this as the two sides of Light Yagami conflicting with one another. And you know what? That could have been cool if I had any inkling that it was intentional.
Yeah, like I think that was just somebody trying to glean meaning from something that isn't there.
Yeah.
Like, good for you. You found something in the movie that you can probably latch onto, but it's not actually explored in the movie, and I don't think that's intentional.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty clear that they were trying to go for the whole Light Turner's a good boy, and he's only doing bad things because people do bad things to him, and
Because his mommy died.
because his mommy died, and he's bullied at school.
Yeah. You can't do that. You can't do that because I'm 17. You're 18. That would totally be child.
And Mia is supposed to be the bad girl cheerleader who wants to be. It's like, I'm a rebel.
She is psychotic for no reason.
Absolutely no reason. Like, you see her smoking in the first scene. That's it. Also, she's smoking in public where there are teachers present.
Yeah.
There's another problem with this movie. Where's the logic? Where's the internal logic here? There's none. There are multiple points where this movie absolutely has lapses in logic. Yeah. One such moment is friggin' Mia and Light talking about the Death Note in plain fucking daylight. Like, right in the middle of the school hallways, like they're yelling about the Death Note and we have to write names down. No, shut the fuck up. You're gonna get caught. Idiots.
Yeah, you don't. It doesn't happen.
Hell, fucking in the original series, Light went through hoops to try and make sure the Death Note would not be found. He friggin' rigged his desk drawer to friggin' erupt into flames if anyone tried to open it other than him.
Yeah. This guy fucking yells about it.
This guy's reading the Death Note in gym class.
Yeah. He's yelling about it through the school hallways. It's so stupid.
And he only tells Mia about the Death Note because it's like, I like you. Can we fuck?
The script says you're the lead female, so let me fill you in.
It's like, I can't tell you. Want me to tell you? Stop that. No. You don't know. There is nothing in this movie that implies to either Light or the viewer that Mia can be trusted at any given point.
Yes, the only canon light associated with Misa is because she also had a Death Note and she knew who he was. That's the only reason.
For the record, the entire thing with Mia fucking undercutting Light during the third act, I think, was their way of squeezing in the second Kira plot, and it was fucking dumb.
Yeah,
it's because it's just two incredibly stupid people fighting over a notebook that kills people. Imagine a netbook that kills people. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
DeathNet.
We have to go to Google Corporation. They invented this monstrosity.
There's your plot twist.
Yeah.
Make that movie. I want to see that.
This movie would have been better served, two things. If it was an hour longer because so much of this film feels so rushed. I fucking groaned at that scene, the coffee shop scene between Elle and Light. And he's like, you know what? He pulls off his mask, which Elle should never do if he's wearing a mask. And secondly, and says, you know as well as I. I'm like, no, he doesn't. He met you 3 minutes ago.
That brings up another thing.
This is your first scene together.
That brings up another thing. Another lapse in logic. And this one, I actually yelled at my TV for.
Yeah.
Why is it that Light is able to put Watary's name into the Death Note and control him and kill him, yet he can't do the same for Light, even though the same rules apply for him? It's like, if he can do it with Watari without his last name, then he should be able to do it with L. But he doesn't. There's nothing explained about this. It's just...
Yeah, and Watari's not his real name. Like that. Like they never say that in the film. But if we can infer it's not his real name, it shouldn't be.
Here's the thing: every other time that Light uses the Death Note in this movie, he's putting down full names, like the name of the bully, Mia Sutton. Like he puts down full names in every other instance. With Watari, he just puts down Watari, comma, and then writes down the cause of death. And it's like, no, that should not work, and it will not work, but it does anyway.
Yeah,
because the movie has to do it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really dumb. The whole thing.
This is what I mean by massive lapse in logic.
And then, like, there's this. I don't understand the full extent of how much he can control his victims, because, like, I don't recall any time in the actual series where he was able to just call up a person who's scheduled to die on the phone and be like, "So yeah, mind slave, how's it going?" Like he can't hear. Because like you can control actions before they die, yes, but you're not gonna like have like a conscious like actual conversation with someone that you're quote unquote mind controlling with the Death Note. That's not exactly how it works.
Yeah, like the entire thing with Light literally Death Noting his way out of a situation.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
One could argue it's probably the only Light-like thing he does in the movie, but it's completely insane.
It's weirdly convoluted and like
it doesn't even explain where he got the names, because these people are free, yes, but he knows that they're criminals and they've done these terrible things. So where did he actually get the names? Like,
well, he got them from that police database he was at.
Okay, were they released on probation or something?
Yeah,
it's not really explained like where these people came from, or why he's able to have them do things in broad goddamn daylight like this.
Yeah, it's like the one gambit in the actual Death Note gambit in the movie, and it doesn't. It's nowhere near. It's weaker than the weakest ones in the series.
It is, because it's just so convoluted, and there are so many plot holes with it.
Yeah.
And probably the biggest thing that is just Light, you fucking dumbass, in the entire movie is during the Ferris wheel scene where Mia takes the Death Note. He's like, no! When he wrote in the Death Note that Mia would take the Death Note. Like, it has been established.
I think he's trying to put on an act, but like Nat Wolf doesn't fucking know how to do that.
It is very, very clear, extremely clear, that what is put in the Death Note happens, no matter what.
Unless you burn the page.
Unless you burn the page.
You can only burn one page.
Again, like, I'll get to that. I'll get to that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rip that new rule a new one.
Yeah.
But there is absolutely no reason for him to be like, if you loved me, you wouldn't have taken the Death Note. You wrote that she would. She was going to take it no matter what. Nothing you could have said or done would have changed it. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
And let's talk about that rule, because it makes no goddamn sense. Now, it makes sense in the case of convenience for what the plot wants, for what the writers wanted to do with the plot.
Yeah.
They wanted a way for Light to get out of there while having Mia die.
Yeah.
It makes no sense because this Death Note is possessed by a Shinigami.
Yeah.
a god of death. What reason does a god of death have for a rule which allows them to reverse death or prevent death?
Yeah.
There's no point for it. It just exists for plot convenience.
Yep. Much like a lot of things
This
in
is
this movie.
basic shit that the writers should have thought of the moment they wrote it down, but they didn't. Because they're too busy trying to make Death Note their own and make it unique. By the way, the director, Adam Wingard, you're a solid director, but your Death Note movie sucks.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. On Twitter, he posted, I believe today or yesterday, he posted something along the lines of, "Sorry, trolls, but the artist wins in the end." Apparently disliking a movie and being reasonably critical of it is trolling now? Like, and you say the artist wins in the end. Like, what do you win? A Razzie Award?
Yeah.
Like, what do you win? It's like, I have successfully fucked up an adaptation of a beloved source material. Like,
Yeah.
it's like you can make Death Note your own, but you have to respect the intent of the original and also the intelligence of your audience.
Just make it good. Like,
just make it good. Stop trying to make shit different for the sake of making it different. Just focus on making it good.
that's the other thing, is it's like, this film would have been so much better served if they just didn't feel the need to shove so many original series things in there just so we can call it a Death Note movie. Like, just make your own Death Note story, if that's what you want to do. I'd still call it pointless, because fucking make your own ideas. Yeah. But at least I could respect it more.
Yeah, because here's the thing. This movie would have worked a lot better if we didn't have to if the movie didn't force us to compare it to the original. There are characters named Light, L, and Watari.
Yep.
We're going to compare it.
Yeah.
Because you're forcing us to. You're putting them in the same roles, and you're making them do things they wouldn't do.
Yeah.
Just make different characters altogether.
Exactly.
I don't get.
Like, here's the thing. It's like, I don't hate this Light because he's a bad Light. I hate it because he's a bad character, and he just happens to be named Light, and that pisses me off.
Yeah, it's taking an excellently written character from an original series and pissing all over it.
Yeah. And I don't like your L because you wrote him to be mellow, and he's not mellow. And he's not even going to be mellow.
Okay, you wrote him to be L for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
You wrote him to be L for 20 minutes, and then you said, oh, wait, how about he's mellow now? That's another thing. The entire chase scene is nonsensical. Because L, you say in the movie, just like in the anime series, you say, L is the world's greatest detective. And the entire point with the original L was that even in the worst situations, he was not overtaken by emotion. He was always calm. He was calm and collected. He raised his voice and got more intense, yes, but he didn't let his emotions override him. In the second half of this movie, L, I don't understand why they decided to go the father figure out with Watari. I mean, I do understand why, but it wasn't very well done.
Yeah.
You have him sing a lullaby to him twice, and that's it. He sings a lullaby and is concerned about L's sleeping habits. That's about it.
Like, I got it, but it's like...
And when...
It's whatever.
And, look... Now, admittedly, we don't know what L would have done in the original series because L died right after Watari did.
Yeah.
But I'm fairly certain, based on his actions, aside from that he would have maybe gone into a bit of a depression, maybe receded a little bit into his own head a little bit, but he would have still continued with the Kita case, and he would have still tried to be calm and rational.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing in the original Death Note that would imply that he would be anything else. In this movie, you have him as the ultimate detective, and you have him as being like, you know, all these positive adjectives and shit. But he's controlled by his emotions, which is exactly what he can't be if he is this great of a detective.
Yeah.
if he's so easily swayed by his emotions, he can't properly work.
Mm-hmm.
So having him be called the world's greatest detective makes no fucking sense, because he sure as shit doesn't act like it. And he just goes completely ape shit, grabs a gun. That's another thing. It's like, I don't like guns, they get in the way. Proceeds to grab a gun the moment he finds out Watare's dead.
Yeah.
And chases down Light and holds him at gunpoint and loudly proclaims, like, this man is Kira when he should know. Ultimate detective that he is, that people are around who view Kira as justice. And this random chef just knocks him over the head with a whatever the fuck. And it's like, you are Kira, go. And
Lord Kira. It's like, yeah, okay. And then Turner's like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Okay, to be fair, that scene was actually kind of hilarious for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
There's so little consistency with logic in this series, in this movie, because the original series was very good, and it's even worse because the original series was very good about being extremely meticulous and consistent with its logic. Its characters worked in exactly particular ways, and the entire thing was a battle of wits. There is no such goddamn thing here.
No. The closest thing you get is a gambit, which is overly complicated, poorly explained, and it happens to people you don't care about.
Yeah. Also, Ryuk. Also, the Death Note only says the Ferris wheel mysteriously begins to collapse. We see Ryuk controlling it.
Oh, real mysterious. It's mysterious to everyone else.
Yeah, but oh god, just have one of the bolts randomly come loose or something. Just look, you went full Final Destination Rube Goldberg effect for every single other death in this movie. Why didn't you just do it with this? Just make a random series of events that make the Ferris wheel tip over. Like, you're so fucking dedicated to that shit. For the record, Light's an idiot in this movie, but he's also fucking crazy in his own way, because the first thing he thinks of when writing down a name in the Death Note, it's like, okay, how does he die? Rather than coming up with something mundane, it's like heart attack, decapitation. And the way that decapitation works is the way it's executed is supposed to be terrifying, but I swear to God, if you put circus music over it, it would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Like fucking Lucky Star, dun da dun da da. Just random goofy music over it, and it would look like a Comedy Central parody.
Yeah, it looks like something out of Piranha 3D, honestly, that effect.
Oh, Jesus.
It did. Yeah. Like, that's another thing. There's such a disconnect between how they wrote Light and how they want us to see Mr. Turner over here. Because, like, half the time they want us to be sympathetic, and then half the time they do shit like, because they also just want to be an edgy Death Note movie and be like, decapitation.
Normal people scare me.
Normal people scare me. Let's have sex while writing names in the Death Note.
Seriously, that entire scene, like, that's another problem I have with the movie. The movie just rushes through the entire sequence where Kira actually becomes justice.
Yeah.
In the world, and like people, and there's like a cult of Kira.
Yep. All of that build-up was just for that one scene where the guy knocks Elle out with a plank of wood.
It's stupid. Yeah. This movie's dumb, but there are so many ways. There are so few ways I can say this movie's fucking stupid.
The only things, like, it has okay cinematography. Its score is okay, not particularly memorable, but it fits. Yeah. I like Seattle as a location.
Seattle would have actually, if they actually did something interesting with the Seattle location, like, focus on their crime problem and American police procedural stuff. Focus on the difference between that and Japanese procedural stuff.
Well, they didn't have time for that. This is an hour and 40 minutes.
Then make a longer movie.
Exactly. This movie was too short for what it wanted to do, and it shouldn't have wanted to do half the things it wanted to do in the first place.
I also find it interesting that the movie picks an interesting spot to just go completely off the rails, because it latches on to actually being a Death Note movie for about 20 minutes, and L says, I have an agent following your son. The moment that line is out of his mouth, the movie stops being Death Note.
Yeah.
Because immediately it just goes into absolute nutter territory. And what's interesting is that, or rather, quote unquote, interesting, when all those agents just jump off the roof and die, it's implied that Ryuk is the one who killed them.
Yeah.
And then later on, it's like, oh no, Mia did it because Gambit. No.
Yeah.
It's her master plan. No, it's not her master plan. Stop it. Don't do that. You're trying to the movie goes into insane territory, tries to latch on to other Death Note elements, but unfortunately it's gone so far that the Death Note-like elements don't actually portray themselves as being Death Note-like.
Yeah.
Like the entire thing with Light's Gambit at the end, Mia undercutting Light at every turn.
Yeah.
All of that stuff would have been interesting if everything around it weren't nuts.
And then, like, the ending of this film is just so kind of, like, abrupt. It just kind of just ends.
The ending infuriates me.
Yeah.
Because L should never get to a point where he would willingly think about writing anyone's name in the Death Note. Ever.
I mean, he did in the original series, and he was going to test it on, like, other countries' prisoners to test that 13-day rule.
It just seems incredibly against, because here's the thing. Even in this movie, he wants to bring Kira in through due process of law.
Yeah.
And by going around the law and using the Death Note against Kira, he would be betraying his own morality, his own code of morals.
Yeah, it's true. And even in that original 13-day rule plan, he was going to have like a death row inmate do it. So like he doesn't do it himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. That's the difference. Like, cause that's L's.
The people would have been dying anyway.
Yeah. I don't know if I want to say weakness, but that's L's hesitation. That's L's flaw, I guess. Whereas again, it's entirely possible that Nier cheated, because that's the difference between Light and Nier. Is that Nier was focused? What?
I think my main problem with the ending with the movie is that, at the very least, in the original TV series, the way L went about it still corresponded to his own code of ethics.
Yeah.
In this movie, there is no such thing. He just goes nuts, and we see him about to write Light's name in the Death Note, and he just doesn't. And the movie just cut to credits. Humans are so interesting. Credits.
That's a thing Ryuk said once.
Yeah, like he said that, and I'm like,
I clapped because I got it.
Actually, he said that, and I just said, "Fuck you, movie."
Yeah.
It's like that was the next words out of my mouth. Fuck you, movie.
Fans of the series have decried the.
It's like you don't get that right.
Fans of the series have decried the ending of the film as completely antithetical to the original anime, where Light manages to contrive a way to officially escape suspicion as a Kira suspect and outsmart L. Effectively means he's gotten away with all of his crimes. In addition, the final part of the ending implies L will write Light's name into the Death Note as revenge, going completely against his character as a detective who wants to bring about justice through rule of law. It has been accused by many of feeling like the movie was made by members of the original series' infamous misaimed fandom that see Light as the perfect hero of his delusions.
It's possible. It's possible Adam Wingard had actually seen the series, and it's like, you know what? Light has a point. No, we don't. We went through all of this for like a good 30 minutes.
Yeah.
This movie did have potential. This movie could have actually been good if it had actually tried to make its own unique Death Note story rather than take elements of the original and pervert them.
Yeah.
That's the best thing I can think of. It's a perversion of the original intention of the story.
Yeah, and then you hear shit like Oba and Obata liked it and shit. I'm just like, what the fuck do they care?
I kind of get the feeling, I don't know, with them, I kind of feel like that may or may, if you actually read their comments, they seem to be kind of dancing around the problems with the movie.
Yeah.
Like they say some very faint praisey things like, this is how a Hollywood Death Note should be, or it's very well, or it's very well made.
Yeah.
They don't actually say anything about the characters, the plot, and they say, and the best thing they say about the ending was that it surprised me. Yeah, it surprised me too.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like it was feeling more of a. It felt more of a, well, we have no stake in this horse anymore sort of thing. So let's just say what they want to hear.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Or it might have been one of those things that Japanese producers and creators tend to do, where it's like they're trying to save face publicly.
I don't even know if it's that. I think
because it's like you don't want to burn bridges.
I think it's just that they're like, okay, we finished writing this thing fucking over a decade ago. We have no stake in these adaptations that get made anymore. We might as well just say what the fucking people behind it want to hear, so that we get more royalty money or whatever.
In that case, I actually kind of feel bad for Adam Wingard, because he was so excited that the creators of Death Note liked his movie. It's like, imagine if this is actually the case. Oh God.
Yeah.
It's like he's already gotten a swollen head. So about like quote unquote trolls against his movie. It's just people who think your adaptation is shit. Sir, sorry.
I like this part under what could have been. Zac Efron was going to star as Light in the film. Why Efron was not cast is unknown, but rumor has it he turned down the part so the character's race would not need to be changed, which is exactly what ended up happening.
But here's the thing: if Zac Efron were Light, that actually would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, race aside, he looks a lot more like Light.
And here's the thing: what do we best know Zac Efron from? High School Musical. What is Troy Bolton in High School?
I don't know him that well from High School Musical.
Troy Bolton in the original High School Musical. I only know this because my sister watched them.
Yeah.
Not Jen, Shauna.
Yeah.
I'm not actually saying her name now because, I had to actually publicize it on Twitter for a reason, but whatever.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's like she was like one of those teenage girls in high school that was like really into High School Musical, and I'm like, why? So I ended up learning a lot about High School Musical, and in High School Musical, Troy Bolton is top of his team. He's well regarded. People like him. He's the good boy. And he's the last person you would think of to have the Death Note.
Did you know the child molester in the film, that guy was actually played by Chris Britton, Soichiro's dub actor?
So I heard. That is a really, really odd cameo.
Yeah.
Odd choice for a cameo. It's like, why didn't you bring in Brad Swaley or Alessandro Giuliani, who is actually a live actor?
Yeah.
Who has done work in American productions before? Why didn't you bring him in?
I don't know, man. They had to settle for fucking Nat Wolff. I think most of their casting money went to Willem Dafoe.
Possibly.
Let's be honest.
Yeah. But this movie was really bad.
Yeah.
It's interestingly in between Ghost in the Shell and Dragon Ball Evolution in regards to fidelity to the source material.
It tried harder than Dragon Ball Evolution, I think. But,
it did. It definitely did. I can give it that. Like, the Death Note looks like Death Note.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think they thought they were doing a good job.
I do get the feeling that it's like they really did believe in what they were doing. Unfortunately, this whole
film to me is the epitome of, man, the risk I took was calculated, but shit, I'm bad at math.
It reminds me of an interesting, so bad it's good entry on TV Tropes for a movie, where it's like they must have thought that took the bad film seriously.
Yeah.
They must have thought that they were really doing something interesting here, something thought-provoking. oaking. They made the film, they put the special effects in, they edited it, cleaned it all up, looked back at their work and said, we made a movie about a talking vagina. Except that with Death Note, they didn't have that realization moment. They didn't realize, oh god, this isn't Death Note.
Yeah. It's
They
not
just-
Death Note. It's not good on its own. And, you know.
And you know what? Look, there are things to like in this movie.
Yeah.
And if you manage to latch onto these things and find it a good movie, more power to you. At the very least, it's not like Dragon Ball Evolution, where there's literally nothing redeemable about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a fucking train wreck all the way through. Like, there are moments where this movie actually does try. You get the feeling that they actually tried to do something that they actually believed in.
Yeah.
It's just not a good adaptation.
Yeah, and that might be why Wingert takes such personal offense to it, because, like, I'm sure he thought he made a great movie. You know?
I'm sure he does too, but at the same time, if you're going to be the producer for a major adaptation like this, you have to be able to understand and take criticism properly.
Yeah.
You have to actually you have to divorce yourself from your pride and look at things. You have to divorce yourself from your pride, and you have to look at things matter of factly.
Yeah.
It's like, this is an adaptation of a work that many people like, and while the original creators may say that they enjoy it, I do have to understand that it's important what the fans think and what they believe. And if the fans think the movie is poorly adapted and poorly done, and if that's what they believe, then you have to kind of take that into account rather than just shrug it off and say, sorry, trolls, the artist wins.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. He's made good movies. Like, Adam Wingert has made good movies. This is not one of them.
Yeah. That's
And I feel bad all of that passion and drive for this adaptation sort of went to waste.
yeah. It's unfortunate.
It really is. Like, I hate the movie, but I hate the fact that there was so much passion behind it even more.
Yeah, because like it's fun. Like you don't have any conflicting feelings about Dragon Ball Evolution, because you can tell nobody gave a shit, and you could like, you know.
With Dragon Ball Evolution, even the people who were behind it said they did it for a job.
Mm-hmm.
Was trying to keep the license. They had to do something with the license, so they made that.
Yeah.
That is it. With Death Note, the people behind the movie were trying for years to get it made because they believed in the property and they believed in what they were actually doing. Like, they believed in the script, they believed in the actors, they believed in like how the movie was budgeted. They felt that they were actually making something really, really worthwhile.
Yeah.
And that people would like. But they didn't.
Nope.
And that's just that's the most disappointing thing about this. They tried and they failed.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the people behind it are having a hard time understanding that they did fail.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Like, sometimes your nose is so close to the grindstone, you can't see what you're making is crap.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that the creators of Death Note, like, they genuinely believe the creators of Death Note really loved the movie, and who knows, maybe they did.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you also have to understand they might just be doing that so that they don't burn bridges for future opportunities.
Yeah. Or they might just be doing it just to be nice. Just to be nice. Like,
someone from Hollywood might say, hey, we want to make a Platinum End movie. You don't know.
Yeah.
So,
or they're just doing it to be polite, you know. I mean, I could see that, you know.
Yeah.
Who wants to go to the cast and crew of a movie and say, that was atrocious, fuck you for ruining my baby?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to be that guy.
Like, they took the creators of Death Note and gave them a private...
They gave some vague praise. Like, yeah, I mean, it was interesting. I mean, like, I was surprised by these bits. It's like, you know, without actually saying anything. You know? They were basically fucking politicians to these people.
They were giving non-answers. I'm sorry. Like, Tsugumi Oba and Takeshi Obata were giving non-answers.
Yeah.
Like, this is just disappointing.
Yeah.
It's kind of depressing talking about it more, because it's just like, I feel bad for the filmmakers, but at the same time, it's like, your movie's shit.
Yeah.
It's well-made shit, but it's still shit.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
It is.
Yeah.
So...
That's that.
That's that. So yeah, anime live-action movies have such a hard time with American producers, because you do get, like, you get shit like Ghost in the Shell and Death Note, where the creators believe in what they're doing, but they're being hamstrung for some reason, or they're missing the forest for the trees.
I think it just... I really think it just speaks to the futility of the practice, really. Like, I've always just been against this idea that, and it goes back to what I've always said, it's like, film is a vastly overrated medium.
Kind of.
Film is put on such a... these fucking 90 to 3-hour experiences are put on such a fucking pedestal compared to every other artistic medium.
You said 93 hour. I think you meant 93 minute.
No, I said 90 minutes to 3 hour.
Okay.
Experiences are put on such a pedestal, and I'm just like, there's nothing inherently superior about the medium of film. And if anything, I think to a lot of creators, especially these days, as people get more into things like long-form television and video games and things that have much longer periods of time to draw these things out and give a lot more like engaging developments and narratives.
What do you think?
The narrative of film is more limiting and constrictive than ever, especially with the way studio systems are set up and stuff like that. Even disregarding things like executive meddling and things like shareholders and fucking studio executives telling you what to do and all that kind of nonsense. And I know it's just redundant, but who fucking cares? Even disregarding all that creative control stuff, it's just an inherently limiting medium. When you have 2 hours or less to cram a story this complex in there and make it good, you know?
Yeah. And here's the thing. You make a good point about people preferring long-form entertainment. Like, why do you think Netflix and Hulu and other streaming services are doing so well? It's the binge model. The binge model works incredibly well for long-form serialized narratives, such as stuff like Daredevil or Luke Cage, or even in animation. Like, I know
we were just arguing last episode about fucking Netflix's binge model, but bear with us here.
It has its benefits. Like, here's the thing. I get more out of binging a season of Voltron Legendary Defender than I do from any movie Disney puts out at any given time.
Yeah. Okay, so this Death Note movie is an hour and 40 minutes. I guarantee you pick any hour and 40-minute chunk of the TV series, it is automatically better.
Yeah. Hour and 40 minutes. That would have been like 4 episodes.
Yeah. Any 4 episodes. I don't care which ones. Even if you don't even have a clue what's going on, you can tell it's better.
4 or 5 episodes. Yeah. 4 or 5 episodes. Like,
yeah, it just
take out the first 2. Take out like episodes 2 to 7. There you go.
Why not? Yeah. Well, it's just like, and I'm not trying to disparage the medium of film. I think there is something to be said for the kinds of stories you can tell in such a limiting medium, and the kinds of things you can do with like a high budget compressed into a shorter cinematic experience. You can do great things with that. Absolutely. But it's not the same, and that's not what, and more to the point, that's not what Death Note was. Death Note was a 108-chapter manga that ran weekly. Was it weekly?
Weekly Shonen Jump.
Yeah, that ran weekly. It was a 37-episode anime that ran weekly. It was a fucking serialized television drama. I don't even know how long that was, but I guarantee it was longer than this movie. And even the Japanese movies were like part of like weird like even the Japanese movies had their own continuity. It was like multiple films.
I think Death Note, like the entire series, you can digest it in about 18 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, that
It's
is
like-
a lot longer than any given movie or trilogy.
The premise alone of Death Note sort of demands that sort of longevity in the format. Like this movie, this Netflix movie has to spend so much time setting things up that it can't set up the things it needs to set up in a coherent or satisfying manner.
You know what? If they actually made this a Netflix TV series, it probably would have been good.
Probably would have been better, because then you could see stuff like Turner's relationship with his father, or his relationship with Mia, or Light's relationship with Watanabe, or stuff like that. Stuff like that could be built up and have a lot more meaning and impact than it does.
Otherwise, it just seems like a random events plot.
Yeah, because you can't put the same names on these characters.
Things do happen in this movie for a reason, but the reasons aren't clear to us.
Yeah, there's so many like decisions characters make that are just because plot rather than because the character would do that.
Yeah,
in many different instances. You know, there's that part where the dad, the James Turner, where Elle's like, "Are you ready to give your life?" And he's like, "I guess I am." I'm like, see, with Sorichiro in the series, I get that because they've had time to establish that that's the kind of person he is. With James Turner, I don't know that he would do that.
yeah.
I don't know that he'd give his life for anything. Yeah, he's a cop. You said once or twice. I don't get the implication he'd give his life for this case. You know, because I haven't had that build-up, that experience with him and his coworkers, because he doesn't have any fucking coworkers. The only coworkers he has in this film are off-screen fucking bullies that are tearing up his office.
Yeah, like you just walk in and you see eat shit, and I'm like, why though?
You know? Because you don't have those things, you don't have time to build those things, that impact isn't the same. You can't do the same things or very similar things in this compressed format when you didn't earn it, you didn't build it up.
The movie either needed to be an hour longer, a TV series, and it needed to be completely, and it needed to divorce itself more from the characters of the original.
Yeah, because if you
that's basically what we're getting at.
Yeah, because if you made your original Seattle-based Death Note story with I don't know, Nate Turner or whatever, and his bitchy Bonnie and Clyde situation with his girlfriend or whatever that was actually developed and interesting, that'd be one thing. But you didn't do that, and you had your cool black ninja detective with his mask and his fucking magical sleeping glasses, like that's cool on its own. Like,
here's another thing: there's something to be said about the concept of the Death Note being used for straight up anarchy.
Yeah,
like go for that angle.
Yeah, that's the other thing is that you could have done that instead of trying to force the original life's fake motives into another character that it doesn't even fit. It fits even less.
Yeah,
I don't believe that this kid that just lost his mom just wants to get back at the world. You could have gone with that, but no, you had to make it some noble crusade because that's what the original series did. That's what people know as Death Note. So we're gonna do that instead of what makes sense for this new character we made up, because this character is nothing like the original Light at all. And there was potential there for him to be interesting. I think he needed a better actor, and I think he needed more cohesion in the script. But you could have made this interesting, like, punk anarchists wielder of the Death Note that did have these, that at first just is feeling depressed and like angry at the world because his mom died and people are treating him like shit. So he gets back at people by killing people, and like it's this high for him and his psycho girlfriend. But eventually he comes to realize his mistakes and whatnot. Like that could have been a decent character arc on its own, but because it's bound to these original series things, and because it's not written cohesively, and because he's got a bad actor with a stupid nose, it doesn't work.
Like his nose. It looks like there's another nose growing out of it, like you said.
Yep.
I'm sorry, Adam Wingard, but your movie sucks, and I hope you're able to divorce yourself from your pride at some point and realize you did make a lot of mistakes here that could have been avoided.
I hope you realize your pride. I hope you realize your mistakes. I hope you make better original films. I hope you don't make sequels to this piece of shit, which I don't know if that's going to happen or not.
Oh no, depends on how many people watch this movie. And it depends on if Netflix thinks it'll be profitable.
Yeah. I hope not, because I don't want to see any more of this, and I don't want to see people who think. I want to see these people make something else that they can actually be their own creative person on and make something good with it. I don't want them to half-heartedly, or not half-heartedly, but delusionally make this sort of adaptation again, because they're not good at it.
Yeah.
And it could be their fault. It could be executives' fault. It could be the medium's fault. It doesn't matter. The point is, things didn't work out here, and they're not going to work out if you force it more.
There is a lesson to be learned here, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's about it for us.
That's about it.
Yeah. Thank you for watching the Baka Gaijin show.
You can find me, as per usual, on Twitter, Tumblr, and hey, Zeke.
Mm-hmm.
Remember last episode when I said, I don't have an Instagram?
Yeah.
I have an Instagram.
You fucking Instagram whore.
The only reason I got it is because Kira Vincent Davis left Twitter, and I want to keep up with my friends, so I moved up. So I started up an Instagram account so I can, keep in contact with her and see what's up there.
Well, I pointed out that I accidentally said Light's relationship with Watari.
Hey, that would have been interesting too. Let them develop a rapport.
Why not?
Let's do that. But yeah, I'm also on Instagram at CCharmanderK. Twitter, Tumblr, CCharmanderK. That's pretty much it for me.
Thank you for watching the Baka Gaijin show. If you want to keep up with me and the content I do, such as the Baka Gaijin show and Novelty Hour playthroughs and other such things, you should like, comment, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can follow me on Twitter and Tumblr, but I don't really post a lot of original stuff there.
And if you like us here, you can also join our Discord chat, link in the description.
Well, it will be in the description. I didn't think to put it there. I keep forgetting to do that. There will be a link in the description, and you can click that link and join our Discord server. We haven't had any new blood in a while, and some people just don't show up anymore. So, it's a sad state of affairs. I guess if you're like, nah, I'm not gonna pimp my Amino account. there's not enough like people that are like completely spoiled on Danganronpa to actually check that out. But if you are, I guess you could check out my blog on Amino. That's fine. But yeah, other than that, I guess we'll see you guys next time. Look forward to more Novelty Hour episodes coming out. Our next podcast. What's the next show going to be? It's either going to be
Shinsekai Yori or maybe Gurren Lagann or something.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Shinsekai Yori. I think we can probably do that before we finish DR2. So I think next show is probably going to be Shinsekai Yori. I'm really looking forward to seeing that again. Next episode is going to be Shinsekai Yori, and then the one after that will probably be our SDR2 episode. So look forward to that. Until then, thank you for listening to the Baka Gaijin show. Zeke freak out. Ciao, ciao for now.